Oh, yeah. The millennials are the new dogs.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, May 13th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1033.
This is No Agenda.
Celebrating moms and MILFs on a global scale and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in downtown Austin, Tejas, in the Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where it's dubious, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Okay. Yes. It's dubious. What? The moms? Mother's Day? Dubious? What's dubious?
Dubious. The news. Mother's thing is fixed in stone.
That's right. Well, happy Mother's Day to our mothers.
Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to mothers.
And all the mothers at sea. all the mothers on the ground. Yes, May 13th, Mother's Day, but not everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere.
No, it's not Mother's Day in the Netherlands. I mean, in Belgium. In the Netherlands it is, but Belgium they have, I think it's 2 weeks later. And it's also called Mother's Day. Actually,
that's not Mothering Day?
No, it's Moedertjesdag, which is the... So moeder is mother, moedertje would be a small mom for some reason.
Only for petite women? What?
There's this thing in the Dutch Flemish language, Dutch really, where you can put a tje behind anything. So a train would be a trein. A small train would be a treintje. A house would be a house. A small house would be a huisje. And for some reason, the Belgians celebrate Moedertjesdag. Small Mother's Day. I don't know why.
Maybe it's just a small day for mothers.
Ah, that could be it. So, Mimi's in California or is she in Washington?
She's in Washington today.
Uh-huh. And are the kids up there?
No, nobody's up there. She's by herself with
Screw you, Mom. Oh, but they're people too. So she has her family. All the family she needs up there. Dogs and cats and birds.
Yeah, birds.
Nice.
And a turtle. I think we still have the turtle.
All right, here we are. Actually,
I have one. I have a story I want to get to quick, and I want to bitch and moan.
Oh, thank goodness.
Let's listen to you'll get an idea what this is about by listening to the teaser played on CBS. This is the McCain story teaser.
I wanted to bitch and grouse about this too. Just remember, I have some clips.
I have clips too.
Defending John McCain. The ailing senator gets bipartisan support from Bill Clinton and Lindsey Graham after he was mocked by a White House aide.
Wait, I have a different... oh, no, it's too long. I'll let you go. I'll let you go, and then where appropriate, I'll bring my stuff in.
Okay, first of all, I want to start... I'm going to start with the end, my interpretation of all this. And everybody getting all bent out of shape. This is the classic example.
A classic, I agree. Classic
example of misinterpreting reality and not even thinking straight. First of all...
No, stop. And only reading headlines.
Well, there's that. But here's the way I see the event happening. And by the way, and I think and Sarah Huckabee Sanders got bent out of shape more about the leaks. And I don't think there is a leak, by the way. I don't think this was leaked. I think the room is bugged. I've said this from the beginning. They've gone through a number of processes of debugging the White House. And I think there's a bug been planted in the whatever this meeting room is.
The situation room.
One of the rooms. So there's a bug in there, and somebody's listening, and this is at least as big a scandal if they could find the bug, and they should be able to, as that when the British got all bent out of shape about somebody being able to hack the voicemail system.
The Sun did that.
The Sun and a few other papers, the Weekly World News and all the rest of them, a lot of them got put out of business.
Yeah, News of the World, actually. That's
News
right.
of the World.
News of the World, yeah.
Yeah, News of the World, which is one of the more popular, I don't know what to call it, newspaper-like products, and is now done. And this is just as bad a situation. But here's the way the meeting would go. You're in a private meeting. And you're having it, and it's one of these things where you're sitting around and you're talking over strategy. And
in executive mode.
Yeah. So they're trying to get this woman confirmed, and they're having a frank conversation. and somebody says, well, what about McCain? He's a real problem. And this woman, the PR associate or whatever she is, she says, well, I don't know. Should we be worried about him? He's dying. And everybody in the media has taken this to either be a joke or mocking. How about as a statement of fact? It's a statement of fact. She says, I don't know, we should be too concerned about the guy being, part of a problem because he's dying. It's sincere fact. She's not mocking him. She's not joking. It's not a joke that fell flat. They're all in there joking around. They're not. You think this group jokes around? They're not joking around. They don't joke around. Trump's not a joker. He's not like Ronald Reagan, who started everything off with a joke. It was his style. But everybody in the media takes it as, oh, she's mocking him. Oh, she's joking, and she doesn't know how to tell a
mocking
joke.
about the dead, and he's the best senator ever.
And so now all of a sudden it becomes a big promotion for McCain. And then Megan or Lisa or whatever the McCain girl is that's on The View.
Lisa McCain.
She's on there and she's all huffy about it. And it's just, for one thing, it should have been a closed meeting. It should have never gotten out that she even said this. And if she said it, does anybody, even one person, and I'm going to use the word, I hate doing it, does even one person in the media or any analyst posit,
nice word,
the fact that she was just being serious? It was just a serious comment.
No, and everything is always within the context of which it's said. What was the previous thing we had that everyone was all bent out of shape about?
So it was about the Paralympics, I think. That's the one.
Oh no, it was like the shithole comment. This very similar situation. Comment. We don't know exactly the context of how it was said, but yeah.
And that's the other thing. We need context. There's no context. This is just taking one sentence out of context and then making it into a huge story. So I looked at the two groups doing this, and they did this story for 3 days, CBS and ABC.
Right.
And I think the best one. Here's a short version. And I believe this is the ABC version. I'm not sure. Play this meant as a joke bullcrap and listen to how carried away they get.
Even if it was meant as a joke, few are laughing about an alleged remark made by a White House aide about ailing U.S. Senator John McCain. The former Republican presidential nominee, now 81 years old, is home in Arizona fighting a deadly form of brain cancer. He made news this week speaking out against President Trump's nominee to run the CIA and was allegedly mocked at a White House meeting. McCain is now getting the support of high-profile members of both parties. Errol Barnett is at the White House.
While spending time at his Virginia golf property today, President Trump's White House refuses to deny or distance itself from a staffer's stinging comment about ailing Senator John McCain, who's undergoing brain cancer treatment. Communications aide Kelly Sadler reportedly joked, it doesn't matter, McCain will not endorse Gina Haspel's nomination to lead the CIA because, quote, he's dying anyway.
Actually, my clips follow this story up perfectly. So, do you have another one? Another example?
I do have the longer clip, which is it's very long. We have to interrupt it a few times. But this is the way they finally took over the story. They kept the same narrative that she was mocking him. And by the way, it makes you think that she's in there. Oh, he's dying. Oh. I mean, come on, people. What kind of news reporting is this? This doesn't make any sense to be anything other than what I stated or said. What I said, which is that it was a serious comment in a closed meeting trying to strategize this woman getting it to the top of the CIA. That's all it was. But, of course, somebody just had the bug in there. They're listening to it, and they go, oh, this is a good one. Let me report that back. Of course, they can't deny it because it's true. And she did say it, but it does not the context. So here's the long one. And what they've managed to do, and ABC and CBS both started to do this. In fact, that other story that you just cut off because it was ended, did the same thing, which is let's take this story and then add the Rudy Giuliani story in at the end just to make it look like a bunch of boneheads. This is
Marcy Gonzalez for us tonight. Marcy, thank you. Let's turn to politics now and a cleanup operation from the White House. After what a staff member said during an internal meeting about Senator John McCain. I
like it already. Now it's just become after what a staffer said in an internal meeting. It's already morphed. This is great. It's beautiful.
Marcy, thank you. Let's turn to politics now and a cleanup operation from the White House. After what a staff member said during an internal meeting about Senator John McCain, who is battling brain cancer. Sources tell ABC News Press Secretary Sarah Sanders chewed out her staff, but still no public apology. The White House also trying to correct the record about the latest statements the president's new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, told a reporter. ABC's Tara Palmieri is at the White House.
Tonight, for the first time, the White House publicly addressing the callous remark about Senator John McCain, but still not apologizing.
It was a joke. It was a badly considered joke, an awful joke that she said fell flat.
The comment made by White House staffer Kelly Sadler in a closed-door meeting that McCain's opposition to their nominee for CIA Director Gina Haspel doesn't matter because he's dying anyway. McCain is battling brain cancer.
This was a private meeting. It was clearly the leak was designed to hurt that person.
We're now learning Press Secretary Sarah Sanders has scolded her staff. White House sources say in a private meeting on Friday she called the comments unacceptable, but was more angered by the leak. Some now taking Sadler's side. A person in the room telling a senior communications advisor, Mercedes Schlapp, said she stood by Kelly Sadler because she saw the leak as an attack.
Does she still have a job?
I'm not going to comment on an internal staff meeting.
Sadler did privately apologize to McCain's daughter, Meghan, but that was clearly not enough.
I don't understand what kind of environment you're working in when that would be acceptable, and then you can come to work the next day and still have a job.
Politicians outraged. Mitt Romney tweeting, John McCain makes America great. Those who mock such greatness only humiliate themselves and their silent accomplices.
I love that we have hundreds of thousands of homeless people eating from garbage cans, and yet this is a 3-day news cycle.
Yeah.
Good work.
It was Trump himself who famously attacked the Republican senator.
He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured.
Tonight, the White House also cleaning up comments made by President Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. In an interview with the Huffington Post, Giuliani credited the president with blocking the Time Warner AT&T deal, saying the president denied the merger. They didn't get the result they wanted. During the campaign, Trump spoke out against it.
It's too much concentration of power in the hands of too few.
The administration has maintained that Trump had no influence on the decision. Tonight, Sarah Sanders releasing a statement saying the Department of Justice denied the merger. Giuliani walking back those comments, telling CNN the president told him directly he didn't interfere.
And Tara joins us live from the White House now. Tara, Rudy Giuliani also pushing back on the notion that the president's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, actually lobbied the president on behalf of the companies that paid him.
That's right, Tom. Giuliani told the Huffington Post that the president had no idea that Michael Cohen was accepting payments from various companies for insight on the White House. AT&T paid him $600,000 alone. He accepted a total of $4 million from various companies. Tom?
Tara Palmieri at the White House tonight for us. Tara, thank you.
That's a nice blending. Good blending job. They folded it right in.
What the idea is, we got this horrible joke that McCain is dying and this despicable character who said it, and they won't apologize. And then somehow we're talking about Trump. Where was the transition? I don't even know where it was.
It was like folding egg whites into cupcake batter. It was so smooth.
Very carefully. Carefully done.
It was smooth and careful. Very well done.
I was stunned by the way they did that.
Well, the controversy didn't stop there. Nicole Wallace over at MSNBC, she took great exception to the question not being answered, just not being answered by Sarah Sanders Huckabee-Heimer, saying, yeah, that happened or it didn't happen or it should be fired or whatever. And then she said, Nicole Wallace said this.
Kristen Welker, how do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck? Why can't she just say, if a staffer said that, we're going to get to the bottom of it, and she'll be fired?
Headline was, Nicole Wallace says she should choke Sarah Sanders. Everywhere. Choking. They're advocating violence, choking her. All the Dementia A blogs and just went apeshit over this. I'm like, and that was the headline was, Nicole Wallace advocates choking Sarah Sanders Huckabee. Now, let me tell you, just hear that again here, people.
Kristen Welker, how do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck? Why can't she just say?
Run up and wring her neck. It's an expression. And it's an expression that is I've known it all my life. Don't have to wring that guy's neck. Doesn't mean I want to choke him out.
Well, but choke him out. Use that in the new word. Choke him out.
Don't want to choke her out. That's not. But what was, and so that was the headline, and that was the.
It was still a violent comment.
That was the pushback from Dimension A, which was just like, Jesus, read a damn article. Everyone's just copying and pasting and RTing all this stuff. Like, oh yeah, they're violent. Those Dems over there, they're violent. But when I listen to in context to the entire Nicole Wallace breakdown, see, ever since Sarah Sanders was put on a pedestal for a brief moment because someone fat shamed her, although the comedian didn't actually do that. But okay, it doesn't matter. Attacked her appearance because she looked like the old hag from right. What's the name of the show? The Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, basically you look like an old hag. And maybe there's some lesbian undertones. It doesn't matter. But ever since that happened, the theme now within the DC press corps, they shouldn't even call it a corps, the DC press bunch, is that's nothing but lies. It's all lies. Sarah Sanders lies. It's just lies. Isn't it? Why even go there? It's lies. So listen to the unhinged conversation they're having about being in the White House press bunch, which I think is, I presume it's still kind of a journalistic honor. I could be wrong.
I think it's a privilege, and
privilege,
I think it is considered amongst themselves as an honor. That's why they're always so fearful that they're going to have their credentials pulled.
Well, if this exchange is any example, MSNBC should have all their credentials pulled, yanked, choked out.
We should.
Yeah.
Susan Walker, we covered the First Lady's, I don't know, go good, be whatever her thing was.
Oh, I don't know what it's called. Go good, be good. I'm so funny. I don't know that it's called be better. Come on, lady. For a week, it was a joke that it was, that she copied Michelle Obama's paperwork, her brochures, and it was a dig at her. Now you don't know what it's called? Fine.
No, go good, be whatever her thing was called. Be best. I mean, how does this comport with that?
It's a great point, Nicole. In fact, we went back, we looked up some of the quotes from that day. The First Lady calling for a high moral, ethical standard thinking before you speak. And
what are we all doing? I mean,
by the way, those were some of the questions that we did also want to ask Sarah Sanders today. How does this comport with the First Lady's message? And I do think it complicates her message. It makes it tougher for her to go out and make that argument when you do have these types of stories that are festering.
What is the motivation for anyone in Kristen's role? I won't put Kristen on the spot, but to sit in that room and take this. I mean, I don't know the difference anymore between Baghdad Bob and Sarah Sanders.
Who was Baghdad Bob again? Who was that?
I don't remember Baghdad Bob. We used to talk about him.
Yeah, but
He's the guy that would be out there with his finger in the air. He's the press guy for Saddam Hussein. As they were bombing all around him, he says, "Oh no, there's no bombing." That guy, the idiot.
So okay, now thank you. So Sarah Sanders, Huckabee would be Baghdad Bob, and Trump would be Saddam Hussein. There you go.
And take this. I mean, I don't know the difference anymore between Baghdad Bob and Sarah Sanders.
Nor do I. I don't know the difference, and I think the motivation. I don't want to
talk about. Know the difference. Well, for one's a guy.
Talk about
and
something.
The other one's a woman. There's one difference.
We could do the exact same thing with the context. Oh, she said, "Don't know if it's Sarah or if it's Baghdad Bob. Can't tell the difference." I mean, it's obviously a quip.
Nor do I. I don't know the difference. And I think the motivation, I don't want to try to, I would never want to in any way disparage our colleagues who have to live through that horror show every day.
Oh, Kristen had the most questions today. So.
It's a horror show, John, every day. I don't envy my colleagues. Yes, you do. course you do. You'd love to be there, douche.
That horror show every day.
Well,
that
Kristen
they go
had the most questions today, so I think we kind of. I mean, Kristen made the toughest run at Sarah on this question.
And they do valiant work every day trying to get some semblance of truth, or at least to expose the hypocrisy and the lies, the Baghdad Bobness of it from the podium. But if you're asking me like how they tolerate it, how they live with it, like why, how do they? I mean, they have more fortitude than I have. I could not go down there and do a Kristen Welker. I could not. I would slit my throat after about maybe 2 of those briefings if I had to sit in that room every day.
He's going to commit suicide.
Put him in there.
Put him in, please, right away. That's some hate right there, man.
Oh yeah, these guys are haters. But the thing, I kind of agree that Welker should be pushing back against this, because I personally think they should pull the credentials of some of these operations. I think NBC should have its credentials pulled. They're not. They're just lying. They're the ones lying.
How come we don't?
Baghdad Bob. And then if somebody that doesn't answer the question, all of a sudden this is Baghdad Bob. And then they just berate Sarah and the whole operation over and over again. Pull their credentials. And I said the same thing with the Washington Post. Pull their credentials. They're not reporting honestly, and this what you just
are you
played
serious?
Is not an honest
are you
report.
seriously considering Stalinistic?
It's been done by other presidents. I don't know why this president hasn't done it. And he already did it with the Washington Post on the campaign trail. He pulled their credentials. They'd have to come in as normal people.
Well, they certainly threatened it a lot when Sean Spicer was in the beginning, and didn't they? They did. I think they did throw some people out for a day or two. If I recall.
Well, I think they should throw NBC out.
No. We need them in there to make sure they're still famous when they're brought down by Roger Stone. Another fine no agenda theory. Yeah.
Roger Stone may be picking them off one by one.
Hey, you remember?
That's a good counter argument.
Remember the Tom Steyer, Steyer, Steyer?
The guy in the California?
Yeah. He's the Democrat who said he was putting up.
Yeah, he says, hey, we should impeach Trump.
Yes. So he's put up $100 million, he says, to impeach Trump. And someone's taken his money and doing things with it, of which I have a fine example here. And this is from the, what's it called? nextgenamerica.org. Which is all about getting rid of Trump and the Republicans in general. And they did a Mother's Day spot. Yes. And it's a video, and it's acted. It's poorly acted. You don't even need to just be hearing audio to know that it's an actor. But here it is. It's for Mother's Day.
I started noticing some issues with him maybe in middle school. The stealing started out small, a few dollars here and there. Not from me, oddly enough, but from less fortunate kids. He was never afraid to talk with girls. But things never really worked out for some reason. I worried when he went to college. But he came home often. I guess he never really learned to do his own laundry. It wasn't until I met his college buddies that I realized it might be too late. Only a mother can catch the signs early. This Mother's Day, talk to your child about the GOP. I wish I had.
So, this Mother's Day, talk to your son about the GOP. The visuals in this video, when she says he never learned how to do his own laundry, you see a picture of him with a laundry basket, and there's a Make America Great Again t-shirt in there. And then when she says, well, and of course, when she says, he liked girls, but it never really worked out, that is a reference to incel, the involuntary celibate.
Oh, okay. I thought it meant that all GOP are gay.
And then, well, there's that. And then the third, where she says, but, she with his college buddies, and then they show a picture of the torch protest with all those
the Nazis.
The Nazis with the torch protest.
Yeah.
And then to wind it up by saying, talk to your son about the GOP. Oh, happy Mother's Day, you asshole. Wow. What a way to abuse moms.
Very funny.
It wouldn't have been. It was fun. Well,
it's funny, but it's also what you're witnessing is an extreme form of genuine bigotry.
Yeah, and hate.
So you don't want a two-party system in this country. No, of course not. We don't want it because the GOP is one of those parties, and we hate them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bigoted hate. That's all it is. I don't know. What are you going to do?
Well, the UK, Gitmo Nation East, is doing something about it, at least for the stupid slaves. There is a proposal now. In the UK, if you share hate posts online, if this passes, you could receive up to 6 months in jail, as judges recommend harsh punishment for internet trolls who torment racial, religious, or sexual minority groups. And they're even talking about a total of 3 years in jail. If you, let me see. The recommendations, which will be subject to a 3-month consultation, which I think goes in now, comes at a time of deepening sensitivity to racism online and abuse, on top of longstanding concern. Let me see. There was something about 3 years. But it all stems back to the 1986 hate crime section under the Public Order Act. But now they really want to put some meat to it. And so if you troll someone online, then you can get 6 months in jail. It's going to be full over there. The Brits are great at trolling. Yeah. They're fantastic at it.
Yeah.
What they're not good at is the New World Order Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh.
I don't think the last time they won was, I think, Kisses for Me, Brotherhood of Man.
You would remember that.
I should say Great Britain because Johnny Logan won for Ireland twice.
Uh-huh.
Now, the show was yesterday, John. As you know, I'm a big fan of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Very
Everyone
big fan.
This.
This is a New World Order exercise to an extreme, which has only been enhanced by the advent of Twitter. You can just sit there and watch. Actually, I couldn't sit there and watch because you have to have Logo TV in the United States to watch this. Like, Logo, okay. And then I go to 183 on my AT&T Uverse. Oh, you're not subscribed to this channel. So I talk to a bot online, which is clearly a bot. The bot sets it up. It doesn't work. I call back. I said, your stupid bot didn't set it up. Well, it's not a bot. Yeah, it is. Shut up. Anyway, well, it should be done in the next 30 minutes. And the show is already starting. And then little do I know that on YouTube, this thing is in the HD quality. They had Ross, the gay guy from who used to be on E.
Yeah.
He's doing the, they had a whole gay team, which very camp, makes it extra funny. And before the show started, I had listened to the songs and I said, Cyprus is the best song, it shall win. Came in number 2. Number 1 was Israel. And do you recall the
Israel?
last?
You should have guessed Israel.
I should have guessed Israel.
Wait a minute, hold on. Stop. What's the name of this show again?
Eurovision Song Contest.
What does Israel have to do with Europe?
We go through this every single time. Eurovision does not mean it started with European public broadcasters, but
why? Okay, then
anybody can join.
Can the United States? Can we send our superstars over there?
If we had a public broadcast system similar to the ones in the rest of the world, yes.
We do. We got the PBS system, public radio, public broadcast.
Do you see PBS putting on a big pre-round talent show to find the best song?
Yeah.
No. No.
I can see it. They obviously just have decided not to, but I think they would.
Well, Australia's in, Russia's in. These aren't European countries. Azerbaijan, tons of countries that participate that aren't in Europe.
I think our PBS people should get their act together.
Because we would win. That's why we're not in it, because we'd win.
We'd win every year.
Well, maybe we wouldn't. If you recall, the last time Israel won, which was only 4 years ago. Do you remember?
No.
Yes, you do. It was the bearded lady.
I thought that person was from Eastern Europe.
No, I'm pretty sure it was from Israel.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, anyway, finish up.
Okay, so for Cyprus, great song. I think the video looked good, which doesn't really matter for these live performances, but it was, the song. It's the song contest. It's supposed to be only about the song.
That's bull crap. We know that for a fact.
Well, certainly. And my runner-up from a song perspective would have been the one that won. But it was so simple, like, hey, boy, I'm not your toy, ba, 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 boy. That's kind of what the song is. But you have to see the whole presentation. Her name is Netta, Netta, and the title of the song is Toy. You need to look up do it right now. Bing it. Bing N-E-T.
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah,
why do I need to look this up for? I'm not even remotely interested in any of this.
You know,
okay.
You're it's just an asshole American. There are people in other countries who watch this and care.
If we get bigger donations because of this report, I'll be a happy camper. Okay, I look up beta blocker.
November Echo Tango Tango Alpha. And here's the song, and just imagine her doing this.
Netta Brown. Or is Nita? Why is it pronounced? Is it Nita?
I think they pronounce it Nita.
Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
Hey, something wrong with your playback.
She's doing the chicken.
Look at me, I'm a beautiful creature.
Yeah.
I don't care about your modern time preacher. Welcome, boys, too much noise, I will teach you. Pum, pum, po.
So she has an outrageous look, an outrageous
Hold on a
act.
second.
Yeah.
N-E-E-T-A
No,
Brown?
N-E-T-T-A. Just that. Netta.
Oh, not two E's.
2 T's.
Yeah, I got that. Okay.
Did you find her yet?
Yeah, it's funny because there's like no mention of this competition at all. I'm using the Google.
You try Bing. I think they're better. Here, but the hook is good. I like the hook. Hit it. I'm not your toy, boy. Not your toy. By the way, the bearded lady was from Austria. I was wrong.
I knew it.
So now, you know that this contest is interesting because it's usually geopolitical. And at this moment in time, with the amount of hate towards Israel, the massive amount of hate about what's going on with Gaza and the Palestinians, I was very surprised that this happened. And I suspect Mossad here, to be honest. I think they're behind some of the voting scandal.
Well, I think you can make an argument based on your thesis. It has to be Mossad. Who else would be able to push this through? There had to be some bribery involved.
And the way they do the voting is great because they've split it up. Half the vote is from professionals from each country, and then the other half is televoting. And you can't vote from your own country. Then you can't spoof your phone number either, I guess.
You can't vote for your own country. No.
Yeah, but you can vote. You can't vote for
you can't vote from your own country.
You can't. Yeah, okay. You can't vote for your own country if you're in that country.
Use a VPN.
Well, I don't know how that works with texting, but
it works.
I don't think so. I think is where the number's registered. It has nothing to do with a VPN.
There's ways around it.
Yeah, but not with a VPN. I don't care what you say. So, anyway, I found it very interesting that Israel won. That, although I think the song was certainly worthy of it.
It was catchy. It was a toe tapper.
Yeah, it was surprising, very surprising that Israel got the nod. You know, it's just there's so much hate.
Yeah,
and you know, there's a lot of Muslim countries. I don't know. It was very interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to promote world peace with that thing.
Oh, well, it's total New World Order bullcrap.
Yes, of course. Well, while you're talking about this, I do have the tensions in Israel's latest CBS clip discussing the apparently every country in the world sending their tires to Gaza so they can burn them.
Send us your tires.
There were heightened tensions in Israel this weekend, just days before the opening of the new U.S. embassy in Jerusalem. Israeli forces today blew up what they said was a Hamas terror tunnel at the Gaza border. Palestinian protesters have been fighting with Israeli troops at the border since March. Seth Doan is in Jerusalem.
The site of the new U.S. embassy is being readied, and signs are up across Jerusalem thanking President Trump for moving the embassy, thus recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Today, hundreds of Palestinians who've been protesting the embassy move marched through the streets of Gaza, carrying the body of a protester shot by Israeli troops Friday. He was among an estimated 15,000 demonstrators, some burning tires and hurling rocks at Israeli forces. Palestinians have also started attaching fire bombs to kites and flying them into Israel. Along the Gaza border Friday, we found Israelis flying kites in a counter-demonstration. Leah Golden's son Hadar was killed 4 years ago in a battle with Hamas. His body was never returned.
This is awful to use children games, kites, and turn them into bombs.
This is the result of one of those fire kites, a crop that has been destroyed. You can see this was a field of wheat, and while the damage was relatively limited here, ultimately it is symbolic. After all, this is a fight over land and who it belongs to.
I love the kite idea.
That's interesting.
Another thing that should be outlawed.
Kites.
Yeah, hey you kid, flying that kite. You're gonna have to be licensed.
This report taught us nothing. We don't know anything.
Not really.
And it looked like a lot of B-roll. I don't know if it had anything to do with the story. Just like they're saying something and they run some B-roll about a bunch of guys shaking their fists and screaming. And it just was, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, we're not getting any stories from these networks. They're not telling us anything behind the scenes. We're going to have to go elsewhere to get actual information.
I haven't really looked that deeply because just every night they have the same story, although the kite is a new development.
B-roll, by the way.
Yes, very similar B-roll. And then, of course, they brought down the drone, which sounds like a lot, but please, I mean, it's a little teeny-weeny drone. Yeah. With a slingshot, though, the no agenda weapon of choice, I will point that out. We do like the slingshots. And kites are now apparently also on the list. And I don't know. We got our knights there. We got Jono. We got Sir Brian, and but they have their Israeli take on it, which doesn't bode well for the Palestinians. We don't have anybody in the Palestines, do we? Who listens to the show?
Well, we do. I think we have a couple.
Okay,
but we never get any. We get some reports from them, but a lot of this is like, I'm sure it's almost like.
I know why. Of course.
Okay.
So this stuff, of course, has been ongoing for a long time. It's probably not really changed. It goes in waves up and down. But the difference is Trump's Jerusalem embassy. That's what this. That's why
there's a lot to do.
That's why they're keeping this up.
Yeah,
that's why they're keeping it up. It's got to be something like that. Why else? They have no story. There's no story.
Palestinian.
It's the same story over and over. It's the same thing.
Well, they showed some B-roll of a bunch of guys protesting, and they described it as they're carrying a dead Palestinian in protest of the Jerusalem move of the embassy. And I think that's bull crap. This is not the right. It's just mixing and matching clips, just for their agenda.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're right. There's no story. It's the same story. Burning tires, shot down a drone, slingshots, add the kites. Nice touch. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and it burned a field.
But they never get into the background of it again. And that, just, I don't know. That's all I can think of, is they don't really care. In the meantime, hundreds of thousands of homeless eating from garbage cans in America. Woo!
And pooping on the streets in San Francisco.
And then there's nothing better when you're pooping on the streets in San Francisco. Although it happened earlier this week, I did find this report to be somewhat comprehensive of the New York Met Illuminati meeting.
Archangels Joan of Arc and a Pope. The 2018 Met Gala brought out the world's biggest stars and some of the biggest hats. Part of this year's Catholic-themed costume ball in New York, where celebrities donned bejeweled crosses and heavenly gowns on the red carpet. Rihanna resurrected the gala with a holy ensemble, including a jewel-encrusted mitre and priestly cape.
She looked just like the Pope, kinda.
Katy Perry wowed in 6-foot-high wings, and Sarah Jessica Parker wore a nativity scene headpiece.
You should see this thing. There's a hat on her head, and inside the hat is a nativity scene. This is the ultimate elitism in my book.
But among the saints are always the sinners. Stars like Nicki Minaj channeled a more devilish side, choosing to wear red. While other outfits fell flat, Scarlett Johansson and Miley Cyrus didn't appear to get the memo, both just wearing simple dresses.
No, they didn't get the memo. It's just simple, stupid dress. You need to make fun of Christianity.
Invitation-only event, which reportedly cost $30,000 to attend, is a fundraiser for the Metropolitan Museum of Art and marks the opening of the museum's annual fashion exhibition. This year's exhibit shows how fashion and Catholicism collide and features 50 vestments and other religious items direct from the Vatican. But not everyone was happy with the year's controversial theme, with some on social media saying, quote, "My religion is not your costume."
If I had 30 grand, which we could have easily done an ICO for, I would have shown up in a burqa to celebrate my faith and fashion. I don't understand how this can be okay.
It's not.
You're mocking someone's religion. True. I mean, inside the exhibit, there's some beautiful pieces there. You know, they show some B-roll of that. Vatican fashion, which is, kind of feminine. But, there it is. And there's some great pieces if you're into that. I did watch Phantom Thread the other night. So, no, I'm totally into it. But to mock... to me, it's mocking. Put a nativity scene on your head.
It's more mocking than that woman talking about John McCain.
Yeah, but they don't see it, and the news media doesn't see it. And I guess the church was okay with it.
Well,
there were some church dudes there.
Yeah, I'm sure there were.
Yeah, and I love that Nicki Minaj came as the devil. Points for her. Points for Nicki Minaj.
The whole thing sounds very, very, I don't know.
Culty.
Very culty. Multi-culty.
Yeah. Now, it was just a frightening thing. My mouth was aghast.
By the way.
What?
Nothing.
What was a gem?
That comment.
The multi-culty?
The one you'll hear when you hear the show over again, looking for this.
The multi-culty comment? Yeah, it was okay. It was all right.
Yeah. This was more than one cult, so it was multi-culty.
Yes, I got it. But when you call out your jokes, how good they are, they're not that great.
Oh, you're getting me because I did that to you.
Correct.
I see what you're doing.
Yes.
Well, that's disgusting. Let's just be honest about it.
I thought so, too. But no one else saw it that way. Not in the medias.
No, they're screwed up. Let's face reality. That's what our show is all about, is the fact that the media is screwed up.
Yeah.
By the way, we did mention San Francisco. I do have to say we have to play the San Francisco clip because I keep things up to date.
Now, he does tell us that he offered to keep the property open on the same terms as the previous owners. But
Wrong one. Sorry.
San Francisco starts off the word San Francisco.
Okay.
We'll play Vinod later.
All right. You got to say it again because Skype was not cooperating.
The word San Francisco is right at the beginning of the clip.
Yeah. San Francisco homeless can now crap at Starbucks.
Yeah.
Isn't that what I played?
No, you were playing the Vinod Khosla clip.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got it. My mistake.
Now, he does tell us that he offered to keep the property open on the same terms as the previous.
This is San Francisco homeless can now crap at Starbucks. That's the clip I'm playing.
Then play the Vinod Khosla clip.
I thought you wanted the San Francisco clip.
No, I just want to see if the clips got mixed up.
Oh, I gotcha.
1, 2, 3. He's a hero to would-be founders and entrepreneurs posing for fun.
So which one do you want me to play?
They're both the wrong clip. I'm just going to have to explain the clip because apparently I gave the clip. I don't know what happened. Whatever happened, it would have been nice to use the clip it's a story about Starbucks in the whole country because of that one incident.
Yeah.
Starbucks is going to open all its bathrooms. You won't need a key. You can just go in there. And that means every Starbucks in San Francisco is going to be encamped by homeless. Pooping.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're not pooping on the street.
Yeah,
so
that's
so
not
your next trip to Starbucks. I would be
that will not last very long. I guarantee you. That's going to be a huge problem for Starbucks. And I don't think they're. It's all virtue signaling, John. It's not really real.
No, it's totally virtue signaling.
Yeah,
but let's see what happens.
It would have been better with the clip. I agree.
Yeah, it would have been better than me yakking away about it.
But let's stay in California for a moment with Sacramento.
A clip fail.
Clip fail. Yeah, a clail. Here's West Sacramento, and they've got a new program that should feel good to everybody.
When the city of West Sacramento suffered a wave of mailbox thefts last November, many people complained on social media, and West Sac was watching.
That is a little creepy for the city to be watching what we post.
City leaders were alerted to the community concerns by a new high-tech computer program.
We saw, the thing that people were talking about the most were mailbox thefts. That's something that we might not have noticed just by waiting for people to come to City Hall.
Now, from viral posts about potholes to a new pizzeria, West Sac leaders are notified using an algorithm called Zen City.
And the purpose of Zen City is to see the big picture.
So how does it work?
Zen City basically spiders through publicly available social media posts and uses artificial intelligence to spider through it and say, okay, what are people talking about? What are the key words? What are the key themes? What are the key topic areas?
That's called artificial intelligence, by the way. To spider through something and grep out key words. AI, baby. Machine learning, deep learning.
What a crock.
Reinforced learning is the new term I hear. Reinforced learning.
And then are people negative about it or positive about it? And then gives us feedback about the sentiment of the community.
West Sacramento leaders get a report generated each month. So what are they looking for? In January, concerns peaked over the closure of a Safeway store and the murder of two sisters killed by their father. In March, a shooting threat at River City High School generated negative posts over the lack of updates from police and school staff.
Notice the negative posts. I think that's pretty much the only intent they can use. We know that stuff kind of works from our Pendergrass guy here in Austin, who also did the performatives. You can find out if a post is positive or negative, but to say that's AI, a little skeptical.
The ACLU worries about the potential misuse of the technology, and we've seen it before. Facebook began as a social engagement tool that quickly and widely engaged the public, but the recent reveal that Facebook's business model exposed user data has been troublesome for users, even though the exposure was not planned.
Our ultimate goal is to hear the signal that citizens are already sending.
So I understand. This is an interesting outfit. You can take a look at it. The what is it called? I forgot the name already. This outfit that's Zen City. There you go. It's a product. It's not Zen City is the name of the company. It's not the algo itself. If you can speak of an algo. But there's but of course I think that they say we're scraping it publicly accessible, but to me, I think they probably have access to the fire hose over at Twitter, and they've got some kind of API access to the face bag stuff.
Maybe.
Well,
this just sounds like a crock.
Well, there's something else that is coming up for local policing, and this is brought to you by Axon. The company's former name was Taser Inc., and they have supplied a fine device to law enforcement, certainly in the United States of Gitmo Nation, the Taser. And they also supply body cams, and they have yet another idea. This is from NPR, Serious Conversation.
Axon, formerly known as Taser International, makes tasers and body cameras for police departments, and in the near future, body cams may be equipped with facial recognition software.
This guy got his mouth over to the side when he talks.
I think so. Did you hear what he said, or are you just talking over it?
I talked over, so you're going to back it up anyway.
Back it up.
Why don't you shut the fuck up?
Why don't you shut up?
Departments, and in the near future, body cams may be equipped with facial recognition software. The company's created a new ethics board to consider some of the implications of this software and the emerging use of artificial intelligence in local policing.
There it is again.
As I don't have to tell you, Mr. Smith, you announced your ethics board, and a group of more than 40 civil rights and text groups wrote you a letter in which they said you should never develop real-time facial recognition through police body cameras because they say the risks of misidentification are too high. Innocent people could be pursued by the police, sometimes suffer fatal consequences. How do you respond to that?
Well, we agree philosophically with the issues that were raised, but I think it's counterproductive to say that a technology is unethical and should never be developed.
Sure.
I think what we need to do is take a look at how this technology could evolve, what are the risks. But basically today, an individual officer might have to make life or death decisions based only on their own perceptions and prejudices. Do we think that computers getting information to those officers that can help them make better decisions would move the world in the right direction?
I love this. So the vision I got in my mind when I heard this bit is the cop is pointing the gun, and he's like, stop! And then in his ear, it's like, safe target, do not shoot. Or, shoot, shoot him, code red.
No, it's RoboCop.
It's RoboCop. It's Minority Report.
I think the answer is unequivocally yes, that could happen.
The technology is especially faulty when it comes to seeing the differences in darker faces.
That's the best part. Well, listen to it again.
Especially faulty when it comes to seeing the differences in darker faces.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a known fact.
Yes, of course. No, that's not true.
I think that has to do with the types of training data sets that have been used historically.
Oh, okay.
Certainly, those are one of the issues that before we developed anything to be deployed in the field.
What we do know from facial recognition is you can detect gaze. So maybe we can shoot.
We would take a very hard look at that. You could imagine many benefits. I think one example you could look back is DNA technology. You know, when DNA was first being introduced, there was much concern about false positives and false matches. And yet ultimately, I think DNA technology has done more than any other key technology in exonerating people that were wrongfully bullshit. I think we'll see other biometrics, including facial recognition technology, that properly deployed with the right oversight over the coming decades could ultimately reduce prejudice in policing and help catch dangerous people that we all agree we don't want out in our communities, and do it in a way that at the same time respects police transparency and rights of privacy of the average citizen.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
This will happen.
There's a disaster waiting to happen.
This will. You know, there was I tried to see if I could make a package for the show, and it really didn't work because you need the visuals. There was a lady who had just dropped her daughter off at college. I think she was driving back through the South. She's black, and cop pulls her over for speeding, 70 and a 55, and he gives her a ticket. And then she hops on Facebag with the live video, and she's crying, you know, racist cop just threatened to pull me out of my car, and all the just, you know, like, I can't believe this is what I have to deal with every day. And this built up on the social nets, and the cops in this town, I forget where it was, they said, well, why don't we just release the body camera? So they released the entire body camera in full, and it could not have been polar opposite to what this woman said had happened to her. The cop was courteous, although I will give him massive down points when she said, they came down to him saying, okay, you know, this is not an admission of guilt, but you have to sign the ticket. She said, I'm not signing the ticket. No, you have to sign the ticket. And then he reads his little spiel again, not an admission of guilt. This just, except, you know, you can fight it. You know, you can prepay if you want, you know, the typical standard stuff. And he said, she said, well, I'm not going to do this. I said, well, if you don't do that, I'm going to have to get you out of the car. I'm going to have to arrest you. I'm going to, you know, your car's going to be impounded. The way he said that, I agree, was a little aggressive. He didn't say it in an aggressive manner. It was very polite, but he could have explained with a little more room. It would have freaked me out too, honestly. Like, dude, you really threatening to arrest me? But what I now am coming to see is that her experience, her reality, her truth was exactly what she felt. She felt that he was going to pull her out. She felt that he was racist. You can't take that away from her. And it's very troubling because when you see these two pieces, and they're like 15 minutes each, that's why I couldn't cut anything out of it. If you see these two pieces next to each other, you can objectively see what happened. You know, the cop was like, here we go. And she was like, oh, he's racist. And she's crying, and she was incredibly upset. But it is the dimension split that we've been talking about for over, I don't know, how long? 2 years now? A year? At least a year?
Since.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, at least.
So it's very, very troubling Moreover, the people who saw this were like, "Oh, this is what I all do, the blacks." I said, no, this is her actual reality. And we need to start understanding that truth is not a single thing. It's, there's not always a fact check true or fact check false.
That's what Kellyanne Conway said once.
Alternative facts. I know.
And alternative facts, and she got railed,
yes.
Raked to the coals.
Yes. Well, note, I didn't use the alternative facts argument. But it was just like, wow, it's very troubling. And thank you. That is the media. The media has built this up. We got nothing but racist cops. And, I'm not worried about the racism. I'm worried about the technology, the body cams and the facial recognition and all this stuff. That's where the problems are coming. Now, we are woefully underinformed by all of this, or about all of this. And again, thanks to the media. And I have an example. When FaceBag came out, everyone's like, this is great. It's fantastic. We love it. Yeah, you give up some information. We were not well informed, although the information about what FaceBag and other social nets are doing has been known and very well understood, but not communicated to people because the journalists are tech horny bitches. And here we have from Reuters, the reporter is reporting on Google I.O. She's at Google I.O., and she's reporting on how great Google is. And then she just throws in these AI machine learning algo things like it's nothing. And again, we're being completely underinformed about what this really is.
Artificial intelligence may once have been the domain of an elite few, but new AI and machine learning platforms mean it's no longer something confined to R&D labs and garage-based startups. Meet Shaza Mehdi. This 18-year-old senior in high school who got a C in geometry created a smartphone app for a science project at school that can detect if a plant is sick.
I always had the impression that people who were into computer science had to be math geniuses or, had been doing it for a really long time.
And to me, this is maybe unintentional, but this is normalizing, humanizing AI and algos and all the stuff that Google does. Normalizing, oh, look, it's for little girl. Little girl can do it. It's great.
But she got a C in geometry, so she's not that bright.
She's not that bright, and she can do it, and she's helping the plants grow.
And so I never thought I could do it, but I came across this YouTube video that was how to use TensorFlow in 5 minutes.
TensorFlow is Google's machine learning platform, and it's open to the public to use. Shaza watched several tutorials, taught herself some basic code, and 2 months later had this app.
I'm Reuters' Jane Lanhealy at Google's developer conference in Mountain View, California. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are increasingly the backbone of everything, from self-driving cars to Gmail to Google Assistant, and TensorFlow is behind it all.
Oh, it's the backbone of everything. That's what it is.
Google says by making machine learning more accessible, it's democratizing AI. But some AI specialists say there's huge competition among the tech giants to get developers to use their specific machine learning platforms. The thinking is, the bigger the community, the better the chance that platform sets the standard. As for Shaza, she's heading to University of Georgia this fall and plans to study computer science.
There it is.
Well, she's not going to get very far if she gets a C in geometry.
I don't think you need that for AI. It's magical shit, man. You don't need that.
And by the way, let's start with the premise that AI is bull crap.
Thank you. It's skip logic as far as I'm concerned.
It is. Skip logic would be, by these people's standards, would be a form of AI.
That's all I'm seeing right now. I'm just seeing skip logic, scripts like if then, go to.
Yeah, if then, if then, if then, if then, if the infinite if then doesn't mean it's thinking.
Yeah. Math, magical shit. I believe that AI
and the reporting on this stuff is dreadful. People go to and of course the Google guys, they keep everybody out who might be critical.
Yeah. Like you. Like you. Where's your invite?
Yeah, I don't get invited anymore. They stopped. But that's the way it is. What are you going to do? It's just all controlled.
I remember
I would do the same thing. To be honest about it.
Right.
You don't want some Debbie Downers going in there and saying this is bull crap what they're doing. It's no good.
No, it's not. Oh, I'm sorry. table moving down.
Table's moving up, moving down. Your table's
Singapore Airport now also considering using facial recognition systems to find late passengers. So I'll just be walking around scanning in your face to see if you, hey, you over there, you're late for your flight. What happened to the? I love the old way, which is like, ding dong, Mr. Curry, we are ready for you. Boarded our plane. Everyone's on board. If you don't board immediately, we'll be forced to take your luggage off the plane. Ding dong. That was the nice way to do it. You go, oh crap, I can't believe it. You run. Now you're going to be assaulted. Ugh.
I think that's funnier.
Yeah, certainly more interesting.
And it's more the way I can imagine it being done in Singapore, which is where they're probably going to have the meeting with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah. But in 12 days, the GDRP goes into effect in EU, the General Data Protection Regulation. Yeah, the General Data Protection Regulation. In short, it's something I don't believe these guys, well, I know they don't like it. I don't know if they can actually perform their services without it. The idea behind it is twofold. One, you should be able to, well, they already kind of have the delete anything if I want rule. So if I was like, look, I don't want any of my data on your server, you have to go and delete it all, which is not a process that's published anywhere, easily defined. Like, this is how I do it. No, certainly not for every organization or company. Data has to be, if the data is stored anywhere in the EU on servers, there's all kinds of privacy regulations, which are reasonably good. The big thing, though, is, and I don't know how they're ever going to police this, it is not allowed for a service, an online service, to grab more data than it needs for you to use the service. So that's very subjective. Certainly when it comes to FaceBag. So data that you give or data that you technically generate, there's questions whether that is something they need to perform the service for you. They need it to perform the service for themselves, for sure. So I don't know how they're going to police it. I think we'll see, billion euro fines, which will just be cost of doing business to these jabronis. But May 25th is when that all kicks off, and it should solve everything. So we're reliably informed.
Well, I have a little off the wall clip for you.
All right,
from PBS. See if you can. There's a clip I have here, and you have to tell me what you think irks me about this clip. All right.
Okay.
This is. Let me find the clip.
Promotion on
KQED. This is our educational station of a movie.
Dislike working with.
I don't want anything to do with a leopard.
The trained leopard who played Baby. You provide the popcorn, the couch, and the TV. We'll provide great movies like Bringing Up Baby.
A zany Howard Hawks rom-com, Saturday night at 8.
Hold on a second. I got to listen to it again.
Dislike working with.
I don't want anything to do with a leopard.
The trained leopard who played Baby. You provide the popcorn, the couch, and the TV. We'll provide great movies like Bringing Up Baby.
A zany Howard Hawks rom-com, Saturday night at 8.
What irks you about that particular clip? Man, you got time on your hands.
It jumps right out. And you're not hearing it.
No,
this is really bad.
Don't say it. Well, I'm a little distracted by technical things, so I'm going to really try and empty my mind for a moment and focus. Okay, let's try it again.
Dislike working with.
I don't want anything to do with a leopard.
The trained leopard who played Baby. You provide the popcorn, the couch, and the TV. We'll provide great movies like Bringing Up Baby.
A zany Howard Hawks rom-com, Saturday night at 8.
Well, I can only imagine it would be the zany Howard Hawks rom-com.
Rom-com.
Okay, yes, of course.
What's a rom-com?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey, bro. Hey, you and the fam gonna stay and watch the rom-com tonight and learn to speak English? I'm KQED and I'm stupid.
You're right. That is not a good sign for the educational PBS broadcaster to be doing this kind of thing. Bringing in the abbreves. But it's how the kids talk. Language changes, yo.
Yo, rom-com.
Yo, rom-com. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage to say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Comrom Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. In the morning, all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and nights out there.
In the morning to the troll room, noagendastream.com. Hello, trolls. Good to see you all there. You are safe here. No 6-month detention for you if you say something bad in the troll room. And we do also want to say in the morning to Darren O'Neill. Darren brought us the artwork for episode 1032, titled That Going Vertical. Comics or Blogger did not create any artwork, so this was it was a great piece. This was killing the planet with the dog, the angry ass dog there, kind of in a Sex Pistols, never mind the bollocks kind of letter type.
I thought it was good cover, good
the
colors.
Thing was nice, yeah.
Yellow and black's always a winner.
Jumped out. We got some tweets. People liked it as well. So thank you very much, Darren O'Neill. We really appreciate you doing the artwork. As for all of our artists, and they diligently uploaded noagendaartgenerator.com before we produce the show, which is right after the show. They're doing it during the show. The stuff shows up on T-shirts and mugs at noagendashop.com, and everyone gets credit and they get paid, and it's a good thing. It's part of our value network here that we call the No Agenda Show. It is the best podcast in the universe, and we have value coming in from our executive and associate executive producers today.
Well, we have our monthly donation to start things off. Our monthly donation from Sir Onimus of Dogpatch in Lower Slobovia.
Ah, nice.
And he also includes one of his notes, which everybody looks forward to.
I must tell you, he and I now have an email convo. He's emailing me stuff.
He mentioned this.
Oh, okay, good.
This is a long note to Adam, so you don't have to read it. But here's the official note. Thank you to and all the producers that keep the show packed with information and value to its listeners. Producers with bog information, boots on the ground. Rather than opinions to match their agenda, make sure twice weekly show valuable to listeners like me. Now, we've tried to establish who this guy is. I think he's Saudi intelligence, personally.
Saudi intelligence, no less. I like that idea.
He's a Muslim.
But why would you be trying to out him on the show?
Well, maybe
that makes zero sense.
I have no idea. He could work for Iran for all I know. I mean, or he could work for the CIA. I don't know what he does, but he seems to be going to Lower Slobovia quite a bit.
No, okay, well, that is.
He says, I'm back from Lower Slobovia and noticed a significant battery drain as I re-entered the grid. He could be also work for an oil company. He could be a sociologist. He could be a professor.
He could be from Brechtel.
He could be from it could be from anywhere. As I re-entered the grid, so he's traveling. He just got back, and he noticed even with no Google, Apple, or Facebook accounts, it seems every little bit of information was refreshed from my digital footprint. We may try to use moccasins and leave small footprints, but Bigfoot may be a more fitting description if we can only be as elusive as Bigfoot. So it bothers him that he walks into the country on his...
And his phone starts overheating and draining.
Which is, if you remember an old show where JC was working in the city and Obama was coming to town.
Yep.
Staying at the hotel across from his place of business. And he says everybody's phone went dead. They just drained
the battery. Yeah. Well, if he indeed is Saudi intelligence... He's coming in. They're like, oh, there he is. There's our Sir Onimus. Flip it on, boys. Let's see what he did over there.
Well, I'm sure he's so careful that like he says, he doesn't have any of these accounts on his phone. He just uses it. Let me guess. He uses it to make calls.
Yeah, well, then he should throw away the smartphone and get himself a Nokia E71.
Now, I think he went to China.
Ah.
Because he says, Adam, well, I didn't see any belts. I did have a brief tires on the road experience, and if all the OBOR roads are constructed like the one I experienced, Central and Western China will have a great trade access over time. So he's driving around. He's there, and he's noticing what I always notice when I go over there.
No potholes.
I haven't been there for a while. It's like, holy, no potholes. Exactly. John, you would be envious of the roads being built through some of the godforsaken places. A modern-day Great Wall of China engineering feat. Yeah. And there you have it.
Mm-hmm.
That summarizes the whole thing right there compared to what we have here in the U.S. interstate system, Highway 80, filled with potholes and chuck holes, and we're taxed to death in California. They can't fix the roads. They can't do anything. They're jacking up the price for gasoline to make it higher than usual than any other state. We're paying at least $1 a gallon more than everybody else. And it's just a lot of corruption, stealing the money. There's got to be less corruption in China.
I never know when to start it.
There's got to be less corruption in China than there is in California.
Well, that may be true. Well, anyway, so he's back. Well, we're happy to have him back. Happy to have him back safe.
Well, let me finish. John, I sent a rather long email to Adam, so you won't have to read it. It was a comment about my perspective on scouting for my long years as a leader, but probably too long to read on the show. So he's a Boy Scout troop guy.
He is an Eagle Scout.
Oh, another one.
Yep.
Wishing peace and happiness to all during this upcoming Ramadan season, May 16th. Let the fasting begin. No jingles, no karma.
When does Ramadan start?
May 16th.
Because I'll tell you, the thing to do is, now in Holland I used to do that. When we were living in Belgium, when Ramadan was on, I'd drive up to Breda, which is in the Netherlands, and I'd go to the Purple Rain coffee shop. But I'd go there just around sunset. Because the guys who worked there, they would have tons of gas stoves set up and all kinds of things all ready, because the minute the sun was down, that's when they really start to go insane with their cooking and some fantastic food. Really, really good. I don't know where we would do that in the U.S.
They can cook.
Oh, for sure.
All right. Back to the
NJ&K. Well, thank you very much, Sir Onimus of Dogpatch and Lower
he's probably, we had to toll him up. He's way past Baron, and he's probably a duke of some sort.
Well, why don't we tally
He doesn't want any of that stuff because of whatever reason.
Well, it's highly appreciated. Saving the day, saving Mother's Day as usual. Thank you so much, Sir Onimus.
The curious thing was he came in on the last year's Mother's Day, too, just by coincidence.
Oh, maybe he loves his mom.
Grand Duke Sir Wayne Melanson. I think we need a little jingle for him.
If only I were on time with stuff like that. It's been a rough morning so far. I'm way off, John. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Grand Duke of the Pacific Northwest, Sir Dwayne Melanson.
Woo! There he is, ladies and gentlemen, always coming in on time.
In Tigard, Oregon, ITM Jensen, a long-form small booze value contribution was $600.65. So it's a small boobs value contribution. Thanks for the analysis and quality programming, even while both of you were on the road. I love the Dirty 30 segment. Keep it up. I would like to hear Sir Chris or someone alter Right and Dirty for that segment. Headed to the UK for 2 weeks today, so how about some karma? Love and light, y'all.
Yes, love and light to you, our friend, and we really appreciate your support.
You've got karma.
Timothy Elliott in Mountain View, California, 33333. And he says, I've been listening to the show for about a year, yet to donate, but it's time to repay you by keeping my amygdala in check and encouraging me to question the M5M. Can I get a de-douching?
You've been de-douched.
Can I also get a Trump's job karma? I recently quit my job in Silicon Valley and will be moving to New York City at the end of the month. I have no job lined up yet. By the way, I don't know if I can make a full report here, but according to the millennials in the family that work in Silicon Valley and elsewhere, and get to see certain things going on, the dog walker, for example, says this: people are freaking out, just no good reason. There's nothing changing. There's nothing going on. Nobody's, according to JC Buzzkill Jr., the job hopping has come to an absolute standstill.
Oh, really? Why is this?
No reason. And people are moving out of the area, many of them to New York City.
And why is that?
No reason.
It's just not quite understandable.
It's not understandable. It's just an observation. So maybe it'll shake itself out. We'll know.
Okay.
And we'll just say, we're reading here. It says, can I get a Trump's job karma? I recently quit my job in Silicon Valley. Why? And you have to write us back again.
John, he's a no agenda producer. No, of course he's sitting there going, I can't live here anymore. This is insane.
So Timothy should say, no, but why is he moving? But why is he moving to New York City at the end of the month? Why do you go to New York City of all places?
For the shows?
Well, yeah, if you want to see a Broadway play, it's the place to go. Yeah. You can move to London, too. They got good theater there.
He has no job lined up yet, but he does have 2 interviews in Manhattan next week. Okay.
You can use the karma boost. Okay. Can you also add me to the birthday list? I think he's on there, May 23rd. Thank you for consistently producing the best podcast in the universe.
Yeah. I'm going to give him
this is an observation. So something's up. And the interpretation we have at the dinner table is that there's a collapse coming, and everybody, it's like an earthquake that dogs, they notice it before it happens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The millennials are the new dogs.
Yeah, exactly. The millennials are the new dogs.
Oh, man. Well, there go donations for the next show.
Jobs.
You've got karma.
Interesting. Rogue Black Knight of the Baron of the Palouse, 33333. Since 1033 code, which we didn't take advantage of, means emergency, and the donations have been a wee bit sucky of late. Karma compels me to stand up and be accounted for with 33333, and as a tiny token of my esteem for your illustrious service.
Thank you.
Please give a douchebag call out to Tall Paul.
Douchebag.
He turned me onto the show nearly 7 years ago, but has still not donated. Shame, shame, shame. I would also like to give a hearty Mother's Day shout out to JW and Lovey. Goodness knows how you've put up with us for so long. No jingles, but please give some home-selling goat with an Adam Yay karma. I need to reap a little benefit from the bubble before it explodes all over us. Huh? Hey, talking about that a second ago, the bubble.
The bubble, yeah.
Keep up the great work. Your efforts keep me sane. Warmest regards, Rogue Black Knight and Baron of the Palouse.
So he wants a goat karma with the Adam Yay at the end. That's,
That's not the first time that's been requested.
Yes, I know. Let me see. I have to insert.
Did you just ad-lib the yay?
No, I have to insert the goat. That's the problem.
You've got karma.
Yay! Boom. Nailed it.
Sir Colin, $205.20 becomes associate executive producer for show 1033, Emergency. Sir Colin, the friendly fat man with a call out for Mother's Day. My donations is the 551.30 donation plus times 4. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, 2 sisters, and a sister-in-law. A special call out to my mom for being such an unrelenting force, an incredible example of commitment to doing what is right. Love you, Mom. Just a magical shape-shifting Jew and Mother's Day karma.
You've got karma.
Radu Pertuk, 20304, Brownston, Michigan. Tip of the hat to all the producers in the No Agenda Show team. Can I indulge in a travel karma to me and my smart, funny, and you know what? What you talked about, that little thing that pops up just popped up. And smoking hot girlfriend, Kelly Rodriguez. Baby, you're the love of my life.
Aw, so sweet.
You've got karma.
$200.02 in Chicago from Michael Birchler. ITM, John and Adam, please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
He's listened since the 2016 primaries without donating, though I am one of the 25 seaters of the No Agenda Torrent.
Ah! Perfect. And thank you for your courage on that one. That's great.
Yeah, that is great. I'm what is that word?
I don't know.
I know what it is, but I can't pronounce it for some reason. I'm known generally as Birch, and I'm a 29-year-old white male living in Chicago. I'm a former musician dude who is scraped and clawed. Colloquial. That's the word.
Colloquial, yes.
And in this case, colloquially known as Birch. I'm a former musician dude who has scraped and clawed my way through becoming a highly effective dude named Ben in my field. Go inside. Go in the house. Your courage and candor dissecting the M5M is needed more than ever. It seems likely the OIG report will further discredit the FBI and the Democrat leaders in Obama and Hillary. Well, Cam, maybe. Additionally, the Democrat Party itself is broken. Their politicians are poor obstructionists. I don't anticipate a blue wave, as their leaders will be swallowed in controversy and indefensible on a stage before Trump, campaigning like, okay, we don't need this. Portion of the reality of Democratic crimes will be exposed. Dream on. Nothing ever gets exposed. I believe your straddling deconstruction approach is humorous and will be in great demand once Trump derangement syndrome reaches a breaking point in all these scandals and they converge with the midterms. Y'all are a release valve on news consumption. Well, that we are. Jobs karma he wants. And he have his yearly review next week, and I believe I've earned a hefty raise. Play these 3 clips. Why You Laugh, Raph, Dealer's Choice, Clinton clip, 2 to the head.
Okay, let's see if we can do that. He also, what kind of karma did he request?
Jobs karma. Jobs karma.
Okay.
Don't laugh. Why you are laughing? Shut up. Shut up.
Jobs.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
All right. Stephen Kunkel in Atlanta, Georgia. I will have to look him up on the emails because look him up with me.
I'll check at the same time. I have nothing on Stephen Kunkel, I don't believe. No.
Nope, I've got no Kunkels.
No Kunkels here.
No Kunkels. Okay, well.
No
Stephen,
Kunkels, no Kankles.
Thank you for the donation, and you can send us a note later. I do have a belated note to read, but first let's get to Justin Johnson, $200. And he'll be our last associate executive producer for 1033. My wife Beth and I have been listening for at least 6 years and started on the 533 knighthood for her and a producer credit. Counting below, I'll leave it up to her. Let me move that over. It up to her for a protectorate. Dame of the M MILFs comes to mind. Though I doubt she'll go for it. If she fails to claim her own, baby. If she fails to claim her own by the next show, however, I deem this to be her permanent title. She's an incredible mom to our 2 kids and the best partner I could ask for in the head scratcher of a society. You might want to check for lice. Attached, you'll find a rare, if not doctored, photo of her doing a promo for the show at a party.
Oh, well, how come we didn't see this? Did you see this photo?
I didn't see it.
I didn't get no photo.
Well, I don't know. I'll look. And in the process, it occurred to me that no one has yet bought and forwarded noagenda.com. noagenda.
noagenda.com. Nice.
Took me a second. So I did. She always tells me I don't own enough domain names. Thanks for all you guys do and the years of pulling us from the clutches of the zombie normalcy that abounds.
Oh, I just found the picture. Fantastic.
Yeah?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. She's cute, first of all. And she's holding a sign with our heads on it. Yeah, no agenda, with a heart and the MSM microphone. She's got an armband that says Team 33. Fantastic. All right. Nice.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. She needs some karma, I presume. I'm going to give her that for sure. There you go.
You've got karma.
All righty then.
Now, we did this. I'm going to read it because I noticed this guy's name is a cult fan. And so he wanted us to read it on Mother's Day, which is today. And knowing the mentality of the occult people, this is for some superstitious reason.
What, he didn't do it on Mother's Day itself, or
no? We read it last show. That's when it came in. We do it when it comes in.
Okay.
Anyway, he says, this is a cult fan, also known as. No, it just says a cult fan here. Okay, well, he knows who he is. A cult fan. As brief mention, I go by Nathan Lee Miller Foster. Okay. Happy Mother's Day to Linda Lee to the mom who took care of us and worked the job, joined the Rotary, set me up with extra Shakespeare lessons, named my brother after Chaucer and the magical river in Egypt, named me after prophetic holy works, and made sure we grew up on Langell, Tolkien, and Lewis. Love you, Mom. I make sure we continue to learn great works of fantasy and philosophy so humanity grows in virtue. Love you, Mom. XOXO.
Okay.
You can close the song that I have to listen to later. So that takes care of our group of well-wishers and producers, executive producers for show 1033, and in one case, 1032.
Yes, and thank you all very much, our executive associate producers, our EAs and our A's, our APs. Sorry, that would be EAPs and APs. These are actual credits. If anyone, I see it all the time on email signatures. Just when people it's your pronoun basically. There you go. My pronoun is my pronoun is ep. That's the way you do it. Thank you, and we will be thanking more people later on. $50 and above in the second donation segment, and of course we have another show coming up on Thursday. You can remember us to become an ep then at
Dvorak.org/NA.
Now, there's some knowledge you can drop on all your friends. You say, I'm an F. Let me tell you about hitting in the mouth.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
There was a interesting story, I think this was NPR, about the pill mill doctors and the doctors who really, I think, are largely responsible for the opioid crisis, or certainly didn't help by getting people hooked on pills and giving away too many pills. Kanye West would be a fine example of that.
Yep.
And actually, this is a holdover from the last show. And this is about kickbacks and how they work. And I just thought it was an interesting story to share.
Last fall, something pretty remarkable happened to a pharmaceutical company that makes opioids. The company's founder was arrested and charged with racketeering.
Funny, I never heard this. Did you ever hear this story? Ever?
No, why would I hear this story? It's an important story, but it's about drugs and pharmaceuticals and pharmaceutical companies. So what mainstream media outlet's going to push a story like this?
Yeah, the only one doing it is NPR. I guess they don't have sponsorships by
drug companies.
No.
Along with several other executives. I'm talking about John Kapoor and his company Insys. Insys makes a painkiller called Subsys, which contains fentanyl. Now, according to federal prosecutors, the company allegedly gave kickbacks to doctors who wrote Subsys prescriptions by having them participate in a speakers program. We know that, pharma companies market to doctors, but this is different. Tell me how.
A speaker program is a pretty widely used tool in the industry. It involves the drug companies hiring doctors to give talks about the benefit of the product to other doctors. The way Insys used it was as a tool, essentially, to bribe doctors to prescribe. You dole out the speaker fees, you expect prescriptions in return. If you don't get them, you drop the doctor from the program. At least if you listen to prosecutors, this is what happened.
And how much money are we talking about here?
The top 10 speakers each made over $200,000 from the program.
Wow. Why target doctors in this way?
Drug companies are not permitted to promote their product, quote, off-label, which means for unapproved uses. But doctors are permitted to write drugs off-label. So if you can find doctors who are willing to be liberal with opioids or with any drug.
To say, yes, this is a cancer drug, but I'm going to give it to you for back pain or whatever.
Exactly. Which, by the way, is a common practice.
Sure.
It's legal. But with opioids, you have doctors who are plainly unethical, pill mill doctors, essentially, and they become a kind of asset to the drug company. If they can find somebody like that there's not a lot stopping them from aggressively marketing the drug. I think it is a widely used practice, so this is not out of the clear blue sky. But INSYS was just a little bit more crude about it, I think you could say. They not only, there was the speaker program money, but there was more than that. They hired the relatives of doctors, which prosecutors will tell you is a form of kickback.
Yeah.
They hired the girlfriends. They hired romantic crushes. It was really this attempt to insinuate themselves into the lives of the top prescribers. And it seems to have worked.
Yeah. Trump should be talking about this. This is outrageous.
Yeah. Totally.
And more outrageous, you don't hear this story. I had no idea this took place.
Of course not. Why would you hear it?
No, we went through that. But it's, at a certain point, even Tucker Carlson didn't do this story, as far as I know. And he's...
Well, he might. You don't know. I mean, maybe he did, but I doubt it. Why would he?
Well, he's done stuff like this before about SSRIs.
Yeah, I think somebody shut him up. He hasn't done it for a while.
That's what I'm figuring, yeah. Damn, man. Well, so there you go. That's, I was explaining to the keeper last night. I said, our economy runs on drugs, legal and illegal.
Well, I'm surprised Trump might go after this thing and talk about it because he's already gone after the prescription drug prices.
Yeah.
And I think, even though I don't know if he's doing the right kind of job. I think this is just a threat because he knows that the mainstream media outlets rely on these drug companies and their high-priced drugs.
Right.
To keep them in business. So this is a way of attacking the media.
Oh, yes. But it didn't do much, did it? I thought it, I was watching the markets and, this announcement came and it was kind of like, whatever. No one seemed to care.
Well, the analysis from the market perspective was that, this is bad. And so and all the stocks did drop. Yeah. And then they started looking at what the proposal was. And they said, hey, this is not going to have any teeth. Don't worry about it. And went back up. So,
yeah,
that was the basic theory.
Yeah. But this pill mill thing, I mean, that's got to be going on with other companies.
Yeah, meanwhile, that goes on. You have this story, which is the CBD story.
Hold on. I was just elsewhere. Okay, CBD.
It's rich in a cannabis compound called CBD. CBD won't get you high, and while it's legal to use and sell in California, a panel of judges for the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals just sided with the DEA. The DEA maintains CBD is a Schedule I controlled substance, a dangerous drug with no known medical benefit and a high potential for abuse, just like heroin.
Just like heroin. I think that's crazy.
Jennifer and Dan Kubish of San Jose.
CBD changed my son's life.
As an infant, Zach was diagnosed with a dangerous form of epilepsy. The doctors said he'd never walk or talk. He would not survive. Zach's now 5 years old.
He's walking, he's talking, and we don't have seizures really anymore.
For Bernadette Eccles,
this is actually, something just hit me, and I was keeping this segment for maybe after the E-block. It hit me that where is the Lear Foundation in all of this? Where are those guys writing storylines that go against opioid abuse and tell people about the real dangers?
Well, they're too busy finding anti-Trump storylines.
Well, interestingly, I had a look at what they're doing the other day. And
how does this work?
Yeah, well, they have a website. And which I didn't even really know, I guess. Well, they're part of the USC Annenberg Norman Lear Center, and they are actually the Hollywood Health and Society group or subgroup.
Huh.
And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we never had before, which I want to share. They have a one-pager, get the facts fast, free, our services. So this is what they provide to Hollywood. Quick question, we provide quick answers. We understand your timelines and get you the information you need. Our staff is experienced in TV, film production, as well as public health, science, and medicine. We've got consultants. Our extensive database of experts can answer questions and offer perspective with specialists in science, medicine, healthcare, national security, and more. Notice science, medicine, healthcare. None of that. I've seen no storylines about this. They've got briefings, panels on location, aired storylines. I got a couple of, let me see, shows.
Well, here, I'm going to throw this out with maybe somebody could get this to them because then they would do storylines with what I'm going to say. Think of it this way. Trump and Jeff Sessions are dead set against the legalization of marijuana in any way, shape, or form. You can run a storyline showing how CBD is saving some poor people. And there's way too much evidence that CBD does what they say about the epileptics. And then you can show Trump and Sessions as two evil men preventing this from happening because they hate kids.
Well, I do have two clips to play to tell you how they really think. And my conclusion, I can tell you up front, these are just mainly frustrated writers who think they know much better and should be writing all the shows. And these stupid people don't know what they're doing. Thank God we're here to show truth and fact. That's pretty much my takeaway. Shows we've worked with, though, we've never had this list previously.
Oh. No, we have not.
So again, the Lear Foundation, or in this case, the Hollywood Health and Society, part of the Norman Lear Center at University of Southern California, they put in storylines. Mainly climate change has been their big driver, and they help and they consult with writers to come up with storylines that are true and perfect. Very much like the clip you played on the last show, where, of course, if someone's a terrorist, it's got to be a white Christian guy. Because that's what they do. So here are some of the shows that they have provided their writing services for. All My Children, Black Box, Body of Proof, Boston Legal, Brothers and Sisters, Castle, Desperate Housewives, Extreme Makeover, Weight Loss, General Hospital, George Lopez's Grey Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder, Invasion, Lucky 7. Invasion, wasn't that the one with that you played the clip from?
No, I think it was Ransom.
Okay. Lucky 7.
By the way, before you continue, because you mentioned All My Children, when did that go off the air? They've been doing it that long. Seriously, this is not a good thing.
Yeah. Lucky 7, Mistress, Nashville, Ocean Mysteries, October Road, One Life to Live, The Practice, Pretty Little Liars, Private Practice, Revenge, Rookie Blue, 6 Degrees, The Unusuals, The Whisperers, The Agency, As the World Turns, Babylon Fields, Battle Creek, The Bold and the Beautiful, Kane, Close to Home, Clubhouse, CSI Miami, CSI New York, The Defenders, The District, Dr. Vegas, Elementary, Family Law, Flashpoint, Ghost Whisperer, The Good Wife, Guiding Light, Hawaii Five-0, Hostages, Jericho, Judging Amy, Madam Secretary, NCIS Los Angeles.
Oh, stop. It was Elementary that I had the clip from. And you just mentioned it.
Elementary, yeah, it's on the list.
Yeah.
Stalker, Without a Trace, The Young and the Restless, 60 Minutes, The Surgeon General. Chicago Fire, Crossing Jordan, Days of Our Lives, Do No Harm, ER, The Firm, Harry's Law, Heroes, Ironside, Las Vegas, Law and Order, CI, Law and Order, Criminal Intent, Law and Order, SVU, The Night Shift, Medium, Passions, The Office, Parenthood, Scrubs, State of Affairs. The list, I could read on for another 20 minutes. Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Army Wives, Devious Minds, Strong Medicine, Royal Pains, The Big C, Dexter, Homeland, Meadowlands.
This is a scandal.
Now, yeah, kind of.
It's a political operation, getting their fingers into the pot, all these different pies. It's a scandal.
Let me just read you there from their About page. Here we go. Hollywood Health and Society is a program of the USC Annenberg Norman Lear Center, provides entertainment industry professionals with accurate and timely information for storylines on health, safety, and national security, with generous support from funders past and present that include Centers for Disease Control, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the SCAN Foundation, N Square, the California Healthcare Foundation, Open Society Foundations. Hello, George. The Southern California Clinical and Translational Science Institute, the California Endowment, the Barr Foundation, National Cancer Institute, the Grantham Foundation, Climate Works, Skoll Global Threats Fund, that's Jeff Skoll and Al Gore, Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, HH&S recognizes the profound impact that entertainment media have on individual knowledge and behavior. In partnership with our funding agencies, that's nice. In partnership with our funding agencies, we offer resources including, is it a two-way street when you say that? In partnership with our funding agencies, we offer several resources. So that's not just because that means they're doing something with these funding agencies, which is not just taking money. Or am I reading too much into it?
No, they're working together.
We offer several resources, including quick facts, briefings, and consultations with experts, case examples, panel discussions about timely health issues, and quarterly newsletter with health updates called Reel to Reel. An expanding list of tip sheets written specifically for writers and producers. Tip sheets available here. The broad range of...
I'm going to download those tip sheets.
Oh, the tip sheets are dino. The broad range of topics include influenza, flu shot, toxic mold, smallpox, cancer.
All the black mold stories that came and went.
Yep. Cancer, autism, motor vehicle crashes, obesity, adolescent health issues, antibiotic resistance, clinical trials, and much more. Nothing about opioids, strangely. But let's listen to them talking about just listen to this. I don't even know who these jabronis are, but they're doing a little panel, and they're just, they just think it's all wrong, and they know so much better. This is...
I'm a very big fan of the book World War Z by Max Brooks.
It's a great book.
I am the biggest enemy of the film World War Z, the Brad Pitt movie. And it's not just because it was derivative and not the message of the book. This is not a spoiler because it's an oral history of the zombie apocalypse. The message of the book is that when you have a giant problem, the only way you solve it is by getting serious about the nature of the problem, collective action, no heroes, nobody's going to come. There is no cavalry. It's a diffuse sort of, everybody has to adapt to this situation in their own way. The message of the movie is Brad Pitt is a hero who will find the answer, and within 5 minutes, the whole world is fixed of him finding the answer. And that's exactly, those latter narratives dominate our discussion of disaster movies and alien movies, and they are totally wrong. That is not how history has ever worked.
Do you get an idea of how these people think? Do you get an idea of what they're all about?
Yeah, they're communists.
It's much more the other model. And so my question is it, aside from World War Z, which I got to meet Max Brooks, he's a very nice person. I appreciate his work a lot. But, like, can you make a movie like the book and not like the Brad Pitt? Or is it just impossible in Hollywood? I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's really a great question, actually.
That's not a great question.
And it's a complicated answer in that there are a lot of forces at play when you're making a film, and you could certainly write a script that would do that. The question is, would someone invest $150 million or $200 million to make that a reality? And
where's the part where I cut the blue wire?
Well, no, I think that, look, not to sort of veer too far off topic, but we're at a place now where there's such risk aversion on the part of studios who make these big films. Right? Anyone can make a small film that's nuanced like that, but it's going to have a cap as to how many people are exposed to it. So if you're talking about big action movies that, to me, the way it gets there, and World War Z is an interesting example because that book was popular, but it wasn't The Hunger Games. Right. Yeah. And so I think that there is now such a reliance on source material as sort of a way to lower the risk so that people are at least familiar with the title. There's a good chance at least a certain number of people will show up when that movie opens. If there was source material that was so popular but also was playing by those rules, the real rules, that the audience, for instance, if Hunger Games had done that, there would have been a revolt if you veered too far from the book. That's the way it would probably get to the finish line. World War Z, again, it's a bit niche. It's like, we like it, right? But it's not, and first up, I should say, full disclosure, I'm completely complicit in participating in those kinds of movies. You want to try to do things off the beaten path and to make them feel as grounded and as useful as possible. But there are so many factors at play. I think it's going to need to be Trojan horsed in, and the way it's going to happen is through source material that has such popularity that it would be sacrilege to change it.
So the idea is we have to Trojan horse all these ideas in.
Yeah.
That's what these guys are about.
Sounds like this. Yeah, these guys are douchebags.
They're
more politically oriented than actually entertainment oriented. These are not the kind of people you want to hire if you're in Hollywood. They don't care about entertainment value, what the public might enjoy. They got these messages, and they got to sneak these messages in on the Trojan horse. So that's all they're about. You cannot trust people like that.
And also, I think this is a very, the way the organization is set up with these panels and experts, I mean, it really invites all kinds of, funny business. For instance, let's say I worked at a cybersecurity company, let's say an antivirus company, and I wanted to plan my advertising. Why wouldn't I go to the Lear Foundation, Hollywood Health and Society, and talk about how incredibly scary everything is, and get people to use my product? Because that'll be written into stories. They'll know when the stories.
Sounds like good marketing to me.
Here is Eric Cheen from Symantec.
People don't think it matters.
And he's there at the Institute.
They say, look, I have this computer, and I don't do anything important. I don't care what's on it. Or I just got this latest router for my home, and, I don't need to pay attention to it. Who's spying on me? What do I care? What people don't realize is those devices are being infected and being used and harnessed to conduct attacks on other people. The internet in the U.S. went down a couple of months ago. Facebook was down. Instagram was down. Amazon was down. Netflix was down. And that was because people had these routers in their home that remained unpatched. They didn't keep them up to date. And of course, they individually, their router, they didn't care about that. But they cared when the internet went down and didn't realize it was their device that was conducting an attack on a third party. So it requires everyone to be a good citizen in order to protect the computing infrastructure and internet that we have.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me the home routers during that outage, it was a bunch of home routers that weren't patched?
That's what this guy's saying.
Well, the next day, it was the same home routers that weren't patched. When's the last time anyone patches? I mean, I do mine once in a while, but it's not that often. But this sounds like nonsense.
So let's look at just to wrap this up, let's look at the Spring Reel to Reel newsletter, and that is REAL to REEL. Get it?
I get it.
Yeah. So maybe we'll see these stories popping up, because I think that this is how it would work. So they have a story here. Stigma, lack of health care put 13 to 24-year-olds at HIV risk. So young kids, we just jot this down, Troll Room. So many populations are affected with HIV/AIDS, including the LGBTQ community and the black community, women and girls. So look for some AIDS stories. Geriatrician wants to give older adults back their independence. So let's look for old folk home storylines. Diverse people with disabilities. Ooh, nice. Infant fine following birth, but mom was another story. I'm not sure what that's about. U.S. military space systems vulnerable to cyber attacks. That could be a good storyline.
Yeah, now you're talking.
And those are the headlines. That's all they got for spring.
Oh, well, there could be variations, not just one.
All of this information is in the show notes, nashownotes.com. Have a look at these guys. HollywoodHealthAndSociety.org. You could even join them as a writer.
Yeah, I could. I should. All right.
Good luck with that.
Well, no, I have some propaganda clips I want to play.
Okay.
And I think this one tacks onto that thing, because I believe this was put in this way the story is presented. I think it was part of one of these groups insisting on that be told a certain way. There was only ABC carried this, and ABC I've got 3 ABC clips. They're all from ABC. This was a mania. Some guy ran off with some girl broke up with a guy, and then they ran off with another guy. And so this guy went nuts and started driving around, shooting at the guy who was trying to get away in his truck.
Are they able to tie it to Trump somehow?
No, they never do, but they kind of do, and you'll see. You'll catch this because it's just too funny. Anyway, so this guy's driving around shooting like crazy, and he's shooting out the window trying to kill this guy, and then the cops ram him, and then he gets him. The other guy turns off somewhere. The guy then drives off and shoots himself. None of this story makes any sense unless there's some drug related. The guy's taking some pill. But Here's the way the story is presented. This is Maniac Shooter, ABC.
And kicked in. We can never come up with every scenario, but our officers were trained well enough to think on their feet.
Officers struck Salinas' car 3 times as he continued to fire shots. Police said the terrifying chase ended when the suspect turned the gun on himself, taking his own life. Tom, the boyfriend, was not seriously injured. Investigators say the suspect had no prior run-ins with the law, and inside his car they found 3 weapons, including an AR-15. Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy's shooting. He's got a pistol. I guess he's shooting at this guy as he's driving. And then they gratuitously mention the AR-15.
Why not?
Which, by the way, is the most popular rifle in the United States. So it's not like it's some holy crap.
Well, we need to mention these things. This is the Lear Foundation. Now in the news. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. But no, I'm going to do back.
You're doing back-to-backs, yeah.
Now, ABC, which I've been following recently, is known, and I haven't documented so many as I used to. They are known for putting native ads in their, probably it's the C or D block, is near the end. They throw these native ads in, and sometimes they're positive native ads. And I think they've developed this new thesis, and I think I pointed 1 or 2 of these out in the last show, but I'm going to point this one out. Where somebody's not advertising enough.
So we got to run a shitty story about them.
So let's run a story on it. And ABC is the worst at this. Nobody else does it as much as they do. But here's the ABC reverse native ad.
Surveillance video showing an iPhone 6S catching fire on a counter just feet from an employee. That phone under repair for a cracked screen, possibly due to heat damage and an expanding battery. No injuries reported, and so far no response from Apple to our request for comment.
You mean our request for advertising?
Yeah, so I was thinking it was the sales guys.
Yeah, so, hey, I want to know about your iPhone 6. Yeah, do you want to advertise the iPhone 8?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, good catch. Good one.
Now another one, which is I think the way why I haven't been really noticing the native ads is because they actually couch them in real news stories. The giveaway here is the way they do the news story with all this spurious information and the fact that very few other outlets even go with this story. So I believe I think this is probably the most modern type of native ad. This is ABC at it again.
And you may love their baby back ribs, but tonight a nationwide warning for Chili's customers. The restaurant reporting people who visited the chain between March and April may have had their credit or debit information hacked. Chili's says it's working with a third-party forensics team to get to the bottom of the breach. Customers warned to keep a close eye on statements. Chili has some 1,600 restaurants in dozens of countries.
Go there now.
Starting the segment off with, you may love their baby back ribs, plugging one of the menu items. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, they got to do what they got to do. I don't see how they can last forever with the business model they employ currently. It just doesn't seem possible.
It's working pretty well.
Speaking of hacks, Equifax had to admit, remember that the big data breach they had? Passport numbers were stolen as well. Woo! Good work, everybody. Very good work. Here's what I wanted to do.
Drunk or not drunk.
Always a fun segment on the best podcast in the universe. I present to you George W. Bush.
One of the big headlines about the foreign policy moves this week, Max, was the risk of U.S. isolation. Let's listen to former President George W. Bush.
Very important for our fellow citizens to remember these words from Winston Churchill.
Drunk or not drunk.
I think we can conclude drunk on that one. Our former citizens.
Hey, citizens, how you doing? Somehow, I think everyone kind of loves him again. It's very strange. You know?
Oh, it's because they hate Trump so much. They got to love somebody.
They got to love some Republican somewhere. Although the hashtag Me Too movement, I think, really did a disservice to Monica Lewinsky.
I know.
The US magazine Town & Country has apologized to Monica Lewinsky over a social snub involving a charity event. The former White House intern caused a stir on social media after tweeting that she was disinvited because Bill Clinton RSVP'd to the same event. The magazine says it regrets how the situation was handled.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, what a great story.
Wow.
Yeah, me too. Oh, Clinton's in. Oh, that's great. He's great. Let's let him come in, and then you kick Monica out.
They literally...
Maybe it was a rendezvous. You guys screwed it up.
Yeah, it was the literal example of choosing the aggressor over the victim.
Yeah.
It just blows me away. Blows me away. And by the way, just a subliminal question. This hashtag Me Too.
Yeah.
Do you remember what did we used to call the hashtag?
Hashtag?
No. What was that symbol?
Oh, the pound sign.
Thank you. I like pound me too just as well. I think it's a good
pound
slogan.
Me too. I think that's a bit much.
But that's what it looks like to older people.
Yeah, I guess it might.
It could be subliminal.
It might. Pound me too. Now, this is because NBC is, I believe, as my thesis has it, under attack by Roger Stone. Matt Lauer and all these other guys have been kicked off the network, but NBC decided to do an investigation. But the big joke in the industry is that they're just investigating them. They're not bringing anybody in to do anything professional. And I just thought we should get this out of the way. This is the NBC investigates itself fiasco.
Now to the news hitting close to home at NBC News. Today, NBC Universal released the findings of its months-long internal investigation in the wake of Matt Lauer's firing in November after he was accused of sexual misconduct. As part of this investigation, 68 people were interviewed, including current leadership as well as current and former Today Show staff, including anchors and correspondents. NBC's Stephanie Gosk has the details.
Nearly 6 months after the sudden firing of longtime Today Show anchor Matt Lauer, NBC Universal's report concludes there is no evidence indicating that any NBC News or Today Show leadership received any complaints about Lauer's workplace behavior before November of last year, when a woman came forward to the company accusing Lauer of sexual misconduct. Lauer was fired roughly 24 hours later. 3 other women then reported their own allegations to the company, stretching back to 2000. The investigative team led by NBC Universal's general counsel found those accusations credible. 2 of the 4 women said that they believe former management knew or must have known about Lauer's alleged inappropriate sexual behavior. The investigators said they found no proof of that. In a statement today, Lauer writes in part, "There are aspects of the NBC report with which I clearly disagree," noting that a day after being fired, "I took responsibility for those relationships, apologized to the people I hurt." Ari Wilkenfeld, the attorney for the woman who first accused Lauer, says NBC should have had a third party conduct the investigation.
Why can't somebody within the company with the kind of integrity and credentials of this general counsel conduct an investigation that's fair and thorough?
I don't think they'll get full and truthful answers. The people who have been afraid to come forward until now, there's no reason they should be less afraid at this point.
A spokesperson for NBC Universal says the investigation was thorough and objective.
Yeah, why don't you put that on the blockchain, bitches? Then we'll know if you're transparent about it, okay?
It was true. What I did was right.
That's great. I have, let's see, I got 2 unhinged clips here. Actually, the first clip this is a beautiful, just tell me what's wrong with what they're saying here at NPR.
The president delivers a call to arms at a campaign rally in Indiana last night.
You have to work every day between now and November to elect more Republicans.
So what role should Trump play for the GOP?
So, I find that a little on the edge there with this call to arms. Is this a subliminal, like, get your guns, Republicans, nut jobs? They think that way.
Yes, they do.
They really do. And this was actually Kathy Aru, I think her name is. and she was on Fox, and it was pretty funny. They even called her out as being a hater.
And who changes his mind, who's uncertain. I mean, we're never...
This is about North Korea and Trump, of course.
Quite sure what he's going to do next. So we have a world of uncertainty right now.
We do know the tariffs are in effect.
But things are uncertain. Oil prices go up when things are unstable and uncertain. I mean, that's been happened in the past. So
or when
that
things are going well.
Well, but we could say that things are unstable. So he's supposed to convince us that things will be stable. We're supposed to trust someone. I mean, Kim Jong-un is supposed to trust that this president's going to keep his word. So we have two...
So you trust Kim Jong-un more than the president?
It's scary at this moment.
Really?
I'm not quite sure. Who to trust. Right.
That's a Fox alert that you buried there, that you trust the North Korean leader more than Donald Trump. I know you're liberal, but you're not clueless, right?
Well, I'm just saying, how does this leader trust this leader? We have two leaders that are unstable.
See, this is your Trump hatred now out of control.
It's not out of control. I'm just saying
it is
he's unpredictable. He's so unpredictable. All right. How are we going to trust him?
The president has been...
Okay. That's the general thinking. Unstable, out of control. Now,
it's on the list.
Well, regarding North Korea, though, and this only showed up in BBC so far, but I think this might become a meme because I could see how we could run with it if we were running CNN or MSNBC or ABC, NBC or CBS. What is the deal with North Korea? What's the deal? What are we doing? What are we giving them in return for denuclearization, our prisoners back, and the reunification of the Koreas? What are we getting in return? I mean, no agenda producers know, because we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah, they're going to open up North Korea to tourism,
amongst other things, and only the BBC published a story. Headline: U.S. offers to help rebuild North Korea economy if it denuclearizes.
Yeah, this is jobs.
Yeah.
Jobs.
Not just that, but we're going to have a Trump hotel.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
I mean, that's this, if anyone, and now I understand how it works.
And by the way, the Trump hotel, once Trump is out, would be the number one hotel in North Korea, period.
Yes.
And there'll be a statue of Trump.
Oh, there'll be Trump Avenue.
Yeah, there'll be Trump Avenue, just like George Bush
in Georgia. In Georgia. Yeah, in the country Georgia. He's got George Bush Airport, George Bush Boulevard. And I think this is how it went. Pompeo went over there and said, yo, Kim, we're going to build, baby. We're going to build this place. We're going to make this place so spectacular. We're going to build. We got to build her as a president, bro. There was a lot of staging going on, though. If you saw those videos of Pompeo and Kim Jong-un meeting, just the position of the cameras said to me that they were prepared. This was not like our delegation meeting their delegation. Oh, here we are, the two sides. Crazy. What's going to happen? There was over the shoulder. There was reverse angles. They had everything. So I think the deal was done a long time ago. Probably you're so right about what's the location? Malaysia? No, Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah, I think the meeting's done. They're just going to eat.
Yeah, they'll have a good time.
I think you're right.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
Well, I have a few people to thank for show 1033, plus a lot of mothers to wish a happy Mother's Day to.
Oh, good. So how is the Mother's Day hate, the mom hate compared to last year?
It's actually pretty even.
Okay.
I don't think it's dropped off or increased that much, even though, of course, I was bitching and moaning a lot in the newsletter. Thomas P. Anaya, $103.20. No note of any sort. Eric Harvey. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read the names and locations 10101 because you don't normally read these notes. But you look on the side and see if there's some that are not the 5013s.
No, but right, but I got it. So I'll say Eric Harvey, who comes in with 101.01 from San Diego, says he could use some biotech startup karma. So we'll get that. No,
that's not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
Give that at the end. I'm looking for the random hello mother.
Gotcha.
Like when you go down to Laura Wilson.
Yes, Kirk James. Yes, got it. Okay.
Yeah, because I can miss those. Sir J, $100. Laura Wilson and Sammamish. Washington. Happy birthday to my fabulous hubby. It's on the list. Excuse me. Kurt James, Madison, Alabama, 100.
And he says, Mother's Day call out for my lovely wife that does so much for her family. I love her very much. Also, would like karma for her law firm and an F cancer. Get well karma for her sister on the way. I enjoy the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Kurt. We'll take care of it.
Sir Sean, $100. Richard Plug. What? Plug? Okay.
Plug.
In Amersfoort.
Amersfoort, very good. Plug.
$99.99. He thinks my Dutch accent cracks him up. T. Humphreys in Wellington. It cracks up all the Dutch. T. Humphreys. All they do is ridicule. They're mocking me. T. Humphreys, Wellington, New
Zealand. He says this one's for all the MILFs out there, which are moms too. MILFs are moms too.
Sir Herb Lamb in Sugar Hill, Georgia. Sean Regaldo in Burlington, Vermont, and Sir Herb was 8008 boob. Humphreys was 8841. Plug was 99.99. Sean Regaldo is 8008 in Burlington, Vermont. Robert Romeo Foxtrot. He's in Bear, Delaware. He's got a birthday or something coming up. Chris Beggio, 7373. Pete Snakes.
Sir Pete Snakes.
Yeah, he hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, good to hear from
somewhere
you,
in Holland.
Yeah.
Baron Mark Tanner, 6666. Christopher Dechter, 5678. Lee Oliveris, 5510.
Bringing back double nickels on the dime, he says. Kilo India 6, Yankee Delta Papa, 7-3s.
Paul Erskine, 5130.
Happy Mother's Day to my wife, the best mom to our fur child.
Yeah, now all these are 5130s. All get a mom call out.
Fur baby.
We don't need to read the whole thing, but we'll read some of it. Dean Wormel, 5130, and he is says special Mother's Day contribution. Shout out to my mom, Priscilla. And mom of my children, Valerie. I love them both dearly. With them, the motherly good karma they both deserve.
Let me just, because he's becoming a knight today, I'm going to read the rest of his note. After 5 years of enjoying the best podcast in the universe and 4 years of subscription and special donations, I humbly request a seat at the round table, accounting below. I thoroughly enjoy your wit, wisdom, and insights to the world around us. I'm honored to join the ranks of knights and dames at the round table. Henceforth, please pronounce me as Surgeon. Pronounce surgeon, as in surgeon.
Another pun.
Watcher of the Stargate, protector of fish. I would also like to request Dame Elise's limoncello and salmon for the round table. Nice. Good one. As a fellow angler, I feel kindred spirit to Dame Elise and wish her good karma for the upcoming salmon season. I'm also supporting her douchebag call-out of Pebble Mine. I've been 33 woke since the late 70s, have been on a lifelong quest to understand the magic number, hence surgeon. 33 blesses and curses me, and yes, John, it is code, but it is much more, and fear my quest for meaning will never be satisfied. When no agenda showed up on my radar, I discovered another way to look at the magic number, which brings me solace. A knighting on episode 1033 seems fitting. Karma for all dames, knights, and producers. Thank you for your twice-weekly courage and dose of sanity. Thank you, Sir Jin, and I look forward to your ceremony.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, I'm irked now that the 1033 had 33 in it. I didn't take advantage of promoting that.
Yeah, but it's because we love moms.
Yes, moms take priority. Paul Hooper, and these are all 5130s. I'm just going to read the name of the person and then the mom. Happy Mother's Day to Lisa from Paul, Nana, and Sammy. Niels Bonnecker from Germany, Deutschland. The award for best mother goes to Roswitha Bonnecker. Butcher away, John.
Well done.
Miguel Lopez says, Happy Mother's Day to Mercedes Lopez. Carl Haberger in Rochester, New York. There's nothing in this box. Sismon Scheiman, I think, is Lubazuski. Again, nothing. But happy birthday or happy Mother's Day to Carl Herberger's mom, and so it's also Simon's. Casey Chrysler in Phoenix. From Grep Cat to my mom. Happy Mother's Day. I love you very much. She doesn't listen, so she won't hear
this. You got us.
Hey, that's the point.
Good one.
Sir John the Brewer, who also makes sake, by the way, 5130. My mother,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I got the sake when I was down in Biloxi.
Oh.
My mother, Nancy, and the mother of my children, Sarah Cozy. Nice. Sir John the Brewer, KG5 ZFA, 73.
73s.
So William Olson in Tonopah, Nevada. It says, Happy Mother's Day to Mary Horner, exceptional mother of 9. Thanks for all you do, Bill. Sir Donald Winkler in Berlin, Deutschland. Good for the Germans. Happy Mother's Day to my beloved mama, Marietta Winkler, and to all the moms of the No Agenda Roundtable family for raising fine dames and knights that are helping to keep the best podcast in the universe alive. Love to all.
Aww.
Jeffrey Schwab, call out to my wife, Tammy, a fantastic mother, and to my mother-in-law, Debbie, 73.
73s, you moms.
Sir Vince, Knight of the Southern Silicon Valley in Milpitas, which is Southern Silicon Valley. To my amazing mom, Tina, and my beautiful wife, Army, Armie. I don't know how to pronounce that. I love you both so very much. Sir Vince, Knight of the Southern Silicon Valley.
Army, I guess. Army.
Maybe it's
Army.
Army, I guess. Carlos Pacina, Jennifer, and happy Mother's Day to Jennifer Hendrick from Autumn and Kelvin. C.R. Douglas. This is donation 3 for 3. Call it to Mom 2018, Mother's Day and dimes times 3. To my smoking hot wife, mom to my 5 kids. To my second oldest human resource who bore her first mini-human resource, December 2017, the grandson. And, of course, my own dear mother of 12 children.
And he donated 3 times to do this.
And he donated once. C.R. Douglas twice. C.R. Douglas 3 times with the same exact donation. Very good. Thank you very much. That's
fantastic.
Very good.
Creative.
Kevin McLaughlin in Locust, North Carolina. In loving memory, Luann Willett Walters from the Viscount of the Moon. That's right, Kevin is the Viscount of the Moon. Robert Dieter, Sacramento, California. Happy Mother's Day to my mom in heaven. I miss you, Mom and Dad, and recently departed brother.
Oh.
Sir Steve Marchie, Paladin of the Light. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, Eunice. She's the most important person in the world to me. TBMITU, love you, Mom. Also, a quick shout out to a couple of other mothers, John and Adam. You guys are pretty swell, too. Love and light to all the moms and their respective slaves. Adam, if you could hit them all in the mouth with a little goat karma, please.
Yeah, I got that for you.
That is coming up. Sir Phenom in Appleton, Wisconsin. Credit as Sir Phenom in memory of my mom, Adeline.
Oh.
Robert Weber in
Hold on.
That's it. That was the end.
Okay, and then you say, John, of course.
Happy Mother's Day
to
my mom and everybody's mom and Mimi.
Yes,
and Jesse. They're all moms.
Yeah, exactly. And I say
3 moms around me.
And I say Happy Mother's Day to your mom, my mom, Jesse, Mimi, and Tina the Keeper, who was a great mom, and her daughter surprised her very bigly today, and it was nice. Yeah, and she's a great mom.
Sent over some male strippers.
Do you have a camera in here or something?
Good. Good comeback. Now the following people are $50 donors. Name and location: Robert Weber in San Jose, Patricia Worthington in Miami, Florida. Haven't heard from her for a while. Hello. Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington. Brett Yo in Cantonsville, Maryland. Dave in Atlanta, Georgia. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Matthew Bosch, pronounced Bosch. He's in Hawaii.
Yes, and I believe
is there a note here about the
Yes, I think he's has a knighthood lined up for today. So let me read this from Matt Bosch in Kapolei, Hawaii. Aloha, Uncle Adam. Kapolei, Hawaii.
It's one something I can't remember.
Aloha, Uncle Adam and Uncle John. I've been living here in Gitmo Nation, Aloha, for a few years, working as a brother named Ben. Today is my 32nd birthday, my last day on the island of Oahu, so why not celebrate the occasion with a knighthood, a counting blow? If the title has not been taken, I'd like to be known as Sir Howlee, Knight of the Second City, and humbly request that P-O-G and P-O-I. Pogpoi.
The pronunciation is actually Howlee, not Howlee. Howlee.
Well, he put a hyphen in there.
Well, he said if you read it Howlee, it's fine, but in fact, it could also be mispronounced. But it's Howleys are referred to the white devils.
So he wants
that
Pog
inhabit Hawaii.
He wants Pog and Poi, which is passion orange, guava juice, and pounded taro root to be at the table. And he'd also like to request some Trump jobs karma and take as he takes a new job in Gitmo Nation East. Oh, at the Clu Cludio. Oh, he wants the Clu Coolio jingle at the end of the show. Mahalo to both of you for the best Kina podcast.
I don't know.
This is Hawaiian stuff, man. There's one thing I have to say, and I love the islands of Hawaii. But Hawaiians often think, or people who live there, think that we understand what the hell you're saying. I mean, we really don't get much further than aloha, and what else do we know in Hawaiian?
Mahalo. And howley, that's the main one.
But all the other stuff, it's like we're not really versed in that. So,
well, poi, you know what that is, and
yeah,
it's only good there. It's kind of like Guinness.
It's only good there. Oh, you don't like the Austin poi? Huh? Austin poi.
I already heard a very good thing off YouTube. I should post this. It was a woman lecturing about this volcanic eruption on the Big Island. Is that all these islands were formed because there's one volcano under the way down at the bottom that's got a pipe coming straight up, and it keeps blowing up every so often. But the tectonic plates shift, and so if you look at a map on Google Maps, you can see when each island was formed and where the whole thing started, which is in Siberia. You see little bumps and bumps, mostly little mountains. And then as it gets longer, we wait longer and longer. Now you have the Big Island is the last place where the same one volcano, which has made all the other islands, has been staying. And so nothing's moved enough to form the next island in the Hawaii chain.
Yet.
Well, this has to stop, and then you have to wait like a few hundred years or 1,000 maybe when everything shifts enough so a new island can form. And that should be even bigger than Hawaii, which is pretty big.
Well, for all of our Hawaiian friends and producers out there, I just want you to know, nobody gives a crap about you in the media here.
I do have one clip.
They show a little bit of B-roll, and then it's like, magma, whatever, stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Because if they could prove Trump had something to do with it, then
they'd be all over it. But they really don't care about you. I mean, you probably have your local news, and there's tons of stories. They also had
we get a few here on the coast.
Well, they had another false alarm, a tsunami alert that went out on the iPause system, so that happened again. But otherwise, we don't hear about what's going on. And I think it's much worse than we realize, or it's much more impactful.
When you see I wish they'd just show more aerials because they're fantastic. Anyway, let's get the last three out of here. Robert Bruckner, Richard Gardner, who comes in quite often. I think he must be a Sir Richard Gardner by now. And then Kirsten Gleb, the pop money girl.
Ah, nice. Well, thank you very much on behalf of moms everywhere. Thank you for coming in with your Mother's Day greetings, and for those of you who caught it, thanks for doing 1033 donations. The 33 code was there. We definitely missed an opportunity, but our love for moms is strong, and this is why. Of course, we will have another show on Thursday. We'd love to see more support from you at Dvorak.org/NA. And a couple of requests here. It's the end.
Jobs. And jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
It's your birthday. Oh, no,
All right. right, here's what I got for you for today. A nice list, actually. We've got Jason Becker celebrating today. Timothy Elliott turns 25 on May 23rd. Laura Wilson says happy birthday to a fab hubby, Sir Austin of the Snowy Cascades. He celebrated yesterday. Richard Pluch, 33 on May 7th. Belated happy birthday to you, sir. Robert Romeo, 49 today. And Matthew Bosch, also celebrating his birthday, 32 years young today. Congratulations for everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, 3 knightings, 1 daming. It's a good day. So if you could grab that blade there, sir.
Oh, it's got rust.
Yeah, it's good enough. On stage here at the podium, please, Jason Becker, Matthew Bosch, Beth Johnson, and Dean Wormel. The 4 of you have contributed to the No Agenda show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That gives you the coveted seat at the No Agenda roundtable of the Knights and Dames. And I am proud to pronounce the KD, Sir Jason, Sir Howley, Knight of the Second City, Beth Johnson, Dame of the Mills, Sir Jin, Watcher of the Stargate, Protector of Fish. For you, we have Hookers and Blow, Roy Boys and Chardonnay, Pog and Poi, Dame Elisa's Limoncello and Salmon, Rabbit Meat and Goat Milk, Dr. Pepper and a Quick Handy, Boobs and Stinky Tofu, Cold Brew Coffee and Cannabis, Bourbon and Bong Rips. We got Breast Milk and Pablum, Gerbils and Ginger Ale and Mutton and Mead at noagendanation.com/rings. Eric DeShill has everything set up over there. Head over there and give him your dimensions of your finger, and he will send out the rings to you as soon as possible. And thank you for supporting the work here at the No Agenda Show, our value for value model, where we don't tell you what to do. You just want to listen? Fine. You want to help us out? That's how you do it. Dvorak.org/NA. Again, thank you. And Obama is still, well, actually, I think he's ramping up a little bit. His ramping up his public profile.
Yeah, why? Oh, to sell his mailing list.
Well, the foundation is starting. He's got and it's now just the Obama Foundation. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's a little late to the game. I mean, this whole foundation scam is going to, it's not, I don't know if I think he may not be able to pull off the Clinton bit.
I think he's not corrupt enough to pull off the Clinton bit. I just don't see it in him. I don't think he can do this. It's not.
You're probably right.
It's really not his nature. I mean, we've groused about him a lot, but I don't think it's his nature, because the way you do that is you have to have access, which means you have access into government. Well, without a doubt, he has access. Now, of course, he's raising his profile right now. I'm sure he'll be campaigning for the midterms, and whoever he helps, that's his access. People donate to the foundation. He gives them access into the government. It's not like it's a genius new thing, but to really go to the extent the Clintons have gone, doubtful. But he's in Japan, and he's doing a little speech, and I thought it was fun to listen in.
So we set up young leaders programs, first in Africa, then in Southeast Asia, where we would bring these young leaders in various fields together so that they could learn from each other. We could give them the tools to expand the work that they were doing. We could publicize their efforts and promote it. And after I left office, what I realized is that the Obama Foundation could potentially create a platform for young, up-and-coming leaders, both in the United States but all around the world, to come together, meet together, create a digital platform where they could exchange information on an ongoing basis about projects that they were working on.
I noticed that he still has the S issues that he used to have, which a lot of people were happy that he left office, because we wouldn't do this crappy wish.
And that if I could do that effectively, then I would create 100 or 1,000.
What would he create, John? 100, 1,000, or 1,000,000 of what?
Soldiers.
Well, close. You got to think more narcissistic.
I would create
Obama bots.
100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 young Barack Obamas or Michelle Obamas.
Or millions of young Obamas. There's something really weird about saying that. Can you imagine if I said, I'm going to create hundreds, thousands, millions of Adam Currys. It'll help the world.
the next group of people who could take that baton in that relay race that is human progress and continue to build on the work that we have done.
Man. I don't know. It just struck me.
He lost his speechwriters. He's gotten back to what they used to bitch about him, why he wouldn't be a good candidate. This droll, professorial, slow-talking, boring guy.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Bad. That was very boring. Couldn't have been worse.
But I thought the hundreds, thousands, or millions of
I think the content was interesting, but it's just like, holy mackerel, speed it up a little bit.
Well, should we?
Drunk.
How about we go to Scandinavia for a moment then? Let's listen to. We don't do much on Trudeau.
Oh no, we don't do enough about Trudeau.
Okay. Well, he put his foot in it again, and he started to use some hipster language, and it came right back to him. Shopify is Shopify? I think is that a tech conference?
Not that maybe I'll look it up while you're playing the clip.
I think this. Yeah, it's the Shopify. Yes, Unite 2018. They're a Scandinavian company, I believe. Anyway, he was there. He was talking up a storm, and here's a part of what he was talking about there.
Free trade deals with every other G7 country. We are the country that has the largest number of trade deals in terms of percentage of global GDP around the world. And that
Prime
means
Minister, I think
we are naturally well connected to draw on the global economy and to play in that global economy. So naturally looking at ways where small businesses that come up with great solutions can actually plug into that global world in a way that is more natural for us, because we don't have a massive market of 300 million people like our American neighbors do. This kind of opportunity or challenge can be turned into an opportunity that I think we need more of. We just have to have a little more swagger as a country, a little more of an ability to promote and demonstrate how awesome we are. We don't often do that. We don't do that enough. And if there's something I've seen over the past couple of years where Canada has had a little more swagger on the world stage, it's because I think we've been able to lift up and point out what Canadians are doing. Canada didn't change when the government changed 2.5 years ago. It is what it is. Canadians are who we are. We're just doing a better job of having the confidence that we have every right to have on the world stage now.
Absolutely.
Woo! Yo! So he said it twice, and some consultant came along and said, because he's frustrated. He's clearly frustrated. Why do those jerk-offs in Silicon Valley get all the press? We need to show our swagger up here. We're good in Scandinavia. Well, that came back to him in Parliament.
Taiwan is being blocked from participating in the World Health Assembly, which is meant to bring countries together to work on health issues. 15 years ago, Canada and Taiwan were on the front lines of the SARS crisis, and that shows why Taiwan should be a participant. Right. Will the Prime Minister show some global swagger and take a public position in support of Taiwan joining the World Health Assembly, or will he remain silent due to his admiration for basic dictatorship? It's come up a few times in this question period. The Conservatives seem to have an issue with the idea of swagger, the idea of Canadians being strong and proud on the world stage, Canadians understanding that being back on the world stage, being positively engaged, being confident about our investments in AI.
And the thing is, he's trying to do a swagger, and they're out-swaggering him in the minority.
I think the whole should have started off with the word sachet.
Sachet.
And new technologies, our investments in the economy of the future are things to be proud of here in Canada. No, we will not apologize for swaggering when it comes to talking about Canada
swaggering
and being confident in the future that we're building together.
Woo! Now, I got to hand it to him. He should actually sachet when he says swagger. That's what, if we want him to do a sachet swagger talk. Crazy.
The I don't have access to feeds, but the Canadian Parliament is 20 times better than the British Parliament. They yell and scream, and they make this is the way that clip is the way it is all the time. Back to that tech conference for a moment. We wouldn't have a complete Trudeau package without him talking about AI, would we?
Prime Minister, I think that it's fair to say that everyone in this room, the people who are watching the live stream, know that we're entering into this new era of business. Much of which is fueled by artificial intelligence. We've seen more
What lies you speak, woman? She
doesn't know what she's talking about. This is sickening.
No one does. No one knows. No one. It's just AI is the backbone of everything. AI,
new economy. AI.
Business, much of which is fueled by artificial intelligence. We've seen more progress in AI in the past 5 years than in the past 50.
This is a great stat. We've seen more AI in the past 5 years than the last 50.
Where does that stat come from? What bull crap is this?
It's Canada.
The one thing that concerns me is how do the people who maybe aren't as connected as all of us are, how do those people become part of this story of entrepreneurial success?
Well, I think there's a few things. First of all, I don't think it means that everyone who's going to be successful over the next 10, 50 years is going to be an expert because they're suddenly an expert in AI. We have some of the most brilliant minds in the world, all around the world, a lot of them in Canada, working on AI, understanding it. I think the challenge that we have as individuals, as citizens, as entrepreneurs, as consumers, is to figure out how to draw on AI as a tool and a lever to improve one's own success.
Oh, John. AI can be used as a tool, as a lever to improve on one's success. That's what we need.
And to improve your company's success. And yes, it takes a certain amount of familiarity with technology. It takes a certain amount of understanding about how algorithms think and how to think
algorithms think.
Yeah, it takes a certain understanding, but we're Canadians. We got swagger.
How algorithms think and how to think through algorithms. And how to sort of approach with a more STEM-ish approach.
Just drop words in.
STEM-ish. We need a more STEM-ish approach. The leaders of the free world.
That's what the drug dealers used to say back in the 70s.
Yeah, and we used to get that. And seeds. We separate them on our albums. Are you drumming again or are you bongoing?
I just feel like I'm listening to a beatnik scene.
It hurts you,
with this guy going away, and I'm thinking, not groovy, man.
Groovy, baby. It's just beatnik. It's so groovy. Hey, remember that, speaking of AI and other phony baloney crap, it was a while ago that we talked about the Silicon Valley Community Foundation? And Zuckerberg.
Another anti-Trump operation?
Well, that is a good question. They have $13 billion in assets.
What?
Yes. That's big. That's almost as big as Bill and Melinda Gates. It's huge.
I don't believe this.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? They all these jabronis, they donate stock. And so the stock sits in their portfolio. Now, the Silicon Valley Community Foundation is a donor-advised foundation / fund, which is the same kind of phony baloney that Zuckerberg has this, and what's his name, Mr. Save the World, Ricardo DiCaprio. He also has a donor-advised fund. So they're really, it's kind of a tax trick, but the money still goes to good causes. But yeah, so they claim now that they have. Well, this is the Chronicle of Philanthropy, so I presume they might have something right or something close to the right number. But they expect this number, this $13.5 billion, to balloon much further. However, there's a rift, a huge scandal going on, as their star performer, their the engagement. What's her name? Well, she's a fundraiser. She goes out and she raises funds. Mary Ellen Loyens. Do you know her? Mary Ellen Loyens? Well, huge scandal. She's been, there's lawsuits now engaging in emotionally abusive, sexually inappropriate behavior. Victims use words like toxic and terrible about the workplace. I'm surprised you haven't heard about this. Is this not?
No,
people are leaving. This
sounds like she's just a bipolar manager. It happens.
Well, yeah, possible. But, when you say there's also sexually inappropriate behavior, I know she's a woman, but I'm still interested if there's this kind of aggression in the workplace.
Yeah, me too.
So let's see
hashtag.
Let's see what happens with this, because this is by itself a very interesting organization.
All right,
and we need to see what they're up to and what they're doing.
I want to get since you mentioned it earlier, I do want to get this clip out of the way. This is the volcano clip, which is actually a weekend clip. It's one of the weekend clips that they did on CBS, I believe, which is a good little rundown about where the state of the volcano is in Hawaii.
After more than a week of fiery devastation, scientists are now watching and waiting for the volcano's next big move. They say Kilauea has the potential to produce a massive steam explosion at any time, unlike anything the Big Island has seen in nearly a century. That's because lava is draining in the summit crater and could soon mix with groundwater. Janet Babb is with the U.S. Geological Survey.
Do people in the surrounding communities have to worry about boulders falling on their homes?
No, not at all, because the boulders will only be carried in the immediate vicinity of the vent.
If there's an explosion, geologists say the largest rocks would land in this area. Marble-sized rocks could fall up to a half-mile away, but still within the closed national park. The resulting ash cloud could be 20,000 feet high and blown across the island.
Ashfall is a nuisance, but it doesn't threaten life.
Despite the science behind the eruption, most people who live here believe there's more to it. According to Hawaiian mythology, Pele, the goddess of fire, inhabits Kilauea and controls the lava. People leave offerings to please her all over the island, and they accept her will. Harry Kim is the mayor of Hawaii County.
I feel like people are very accepting.
It's when you're close to nature, then you have to be around here. You accept lava eruptions as part of that.
There's a price for paradise.
There is a price. It really is a price.
Earthquakes and lava are a way of life here. Kilauea has been in a constant state of eruption since 1983, and in that time, the entire community of Kalapana was wiped out. So people here know this volcano's power, and they have a healthy dose of respect for it. Rena?
Carter, thank you.
Wow, that's a rare clip.
Blow.
Yeah. Rare clip.
Gonna blow.
It'll stop global warming and international air travel all in one fell swoop.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm kind of reluctant to go anywhere because I don't think I'll be able to get back.
Remember that? Remember when the people were stuck? What was that?
Yeah, Iceland.
Yeah, that was pretty harsh. Well, the Armageddon also taking place on the mainland, besides just the volcanoes and the ash in Hawaii. Here's something I did not know, and I think it's a big story. Because of the pollution and the contamination, our United States recycling industry is currently broken as prices for scrap paper and plastic have completely collapsed.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
So the
supply and demand.
We were sending it to China, and the Chinese don't want it anymore. They say, look, 20% of the material we ship has, crap in it, discarded food. People don't separate, and then, of course, you get that in there. And I guess it's very expensive to separate that after the fact. But the whole system is broken down. They can't make money. They cannot make any money on recycling anymore. So, of course, it's going to stop.
Yeah. Well, something's going to give.
Yeah. Did you know about this? Did you know it wasn't working?
No, I did not know about it. And I've been, every once in a while, one of the kids says, "Hey, you're putting a bottle in there, the garbage." I said, yeah, put a bottle in it once in a while. So what? In Berkeley, they have the police. They have the garbage police.
Yeah.
It's almost like that in England,
yeah,
where they check your recyclables. Oh, wait, you don't have this. We're writing you up.
Sure.
Because you didn't put the bottle in the right box.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's always seemed that the whole thing was a scam from the beginning, at least with bottles. You pay a nickel now in California when you buy a soda just for the bottle for the recycling fee. That's a scam. What's the point?
It's actually, I've seen this work very well in Europe, where you pay that extra fee. It used to be
that's where it came from.
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah, oh yeah. It's, of course, socialism, and it started off with what I recall in the 70s when I was growing up in the Netherlands. They would actually, you'd buy a bottle of something, and they would tack on the extra 5 cents when they would say, oh, and that's plus 5 cents for, they call it statiegeld, which is your refund money. So anyone who brings that bottle back, turns it in, gets 5 cents. Well, guess who is cleaning up the streets and getting paid for it by bringing these bottles and cans in for money? Homeless people.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting program.
Yeah, it keeps the homeless people busy.
And it could help our recycling. I mean, I have to say I'm not the best recycler. I don't even think we have recycled separation here in liberal
Oh, that's
Austin.
a scandal if true.
Yeah,
we have 3 different cans that we use.
Yeah, well, we're an apartment building, so we have a chute.
Oh, just throw everything down the chute. Hell with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Well, I got one more clip I can play, or two. We did have the Paris stabbing.
Yeah.
And we have I think we got to get this one out of the way, though. This is actually a clip that's getting old. This is the rape and murder in India, which is not covered by the national news at all, and even the BBC doesn't cover it much.
Horrific allegations of rape and murder involving a teenage girl have once again turned a spotlight on sexual violence in India. This latest case comes from a northeastern section of the country, in a village deep in the countryside in the rural state of Jharkhand. It's one of the poorest parts of India, and it's where on Thursday a 16-year-old girl is alleged to have been kidnapped and then brutally raped. What happened next has added to pressure on authorities to act. On Friday, the girl's family approached the village council, local elders with influence in the village, demanding justice. Now, these councils don't have any legal authority, but in these distant parts of the country, they can sometimes wield enormous influence. But there was no justice. The council imposed a fine of $750, and the accused were ordered to do 100 sit-ups. That's right, money in sit-ups, that's all. And then things got even worse. In a chilling act of retribution, the accused men are said to have set the family's home on fire. It's in this attack, later on Friday, that the 16-year-old is alleged to have been killed. She was burned to death. The case is now with the local police. More than a dozen men have been arrested, including the head of the village council. But sadly, this isn't the first horrific case to come to light in recent weeks. In April, a rape and murder case involving an 8-year-old and another rape case involving a different 16-year-old triggered nationwide protests. India's rape laws, remember, were tightened back in 2013 after the gang rape and murder of a young medical student in Delhi generated international headlines. But activists say enforcement has again and again lagged behind new laws. There's also India's entrenched patriarchy, which they cite as a major cause. They want better education to end what many say is a cultural problem where women are routinely marginalized, often with violent consequences. These latest cases underline in the most tragic of ways just how much more needs to be done. Nikhil Kumar, CNN, New Delhi.
Wow, what a mess.
Yep, nobody's covering it. CNN has that one guy doing it, and it's pathetic. India is a mess, and it kills me. The guys go to the councils because it's so old fashioned, and the council guys were part of the gang of rapists.
Oh, yeah. And we kind of glossed over the Paris stabbing, which I am kicking myself for because everyone's kind of glossing over it. No guns available in France, in Paris, so they go to knives. England, knives. It's the culture has become toxic and violent, and I'm going to say it's because of SSRIs mainly. I'm not quite sure what this dude's deal was. But there's problems, and people are, if not maintained properly, if you don't maintain your human resources, whatever they need, or if you're putting the wrong shit into them, they can become very violent, and they will kill with whatever means they need. And I just, what are they going to do? The UK has already banned knives.
Yeah, you got to ban knives now.
These are not the solutions.
Each other with pencils.
I have an idea, though, and this is my last clip. This is from an actual TED Talk from Susan Pinker. a psychologist. She's also written a number of books. She's a social science columnist for the Wall Street Journal. I think her most famous book was from 2008, The Sexual Paradox. I don't think I've read it. I remember hearing about it. And she does a lot about the differences between men and women. And I think that was it was The Sexual Paradox, Men, Women, and the Real Gender Gap, focused on how sex differences play out in the workplace. And she had a very interesting TED Talk. And we're picking it up in this TED Talk, where there was a study done on a large amount of people. I forget what the P number was, or the N number. A large amount of people over a 7-year period, to see what behavior that people took place in helped them live the longest. So they waited for a number of people to die, and then they went back and said, okay, the people who were still alive, what were you doing? And it was, I guess, a serious study. The answer will not surprise you if you're a No Agenda listener, and if you are considering OTG-ness yourself.
So let's now look at her data in summary, going from the least powerful predictor to the strongest, okay? So clean air, which is great, it doesn't predict how long you will live. Whether you have your hypertension treated is good, still not a strong predictor. Whether you're lean or overweight, you can stop feeling guilty about this because it's only in third place. How much exercise you get is next, still only a moderate predictor. Whether you've had a cardiac event and you're in rehab and exercising, getting higher now. Whether you've had a flu vaccine. Did anybody here know that having a flu vaccine protects you more than doing exercise?
I found that to be very interesting. I'm not sure how that stat works out, but interesting nonetheless. Flu kills for sure.
Whether you were drinking and quit, or whether you're a moderate drinker, whether you don't smoke, or if you did, whether you quit. And getting towards the top predictors are two features of your social life. First, your close relationships. These are the people that you can call on for a loan if you need money suddenly.
That's not you, I guess, John. I was thinking, who could I call for a loan? And your name did not come to mind.
Who will call the doctor if you're not feeling well, or who will take you to the hospital, or who will sit with you if you're having an existential crisis, if you're in despair. Those people, that little clutch of people, are a strong predictor, if you have them, of how long you'll live. And then something that surprised me, something that's called social integration. This means how much you interact with people as you move through your day.
Now, this is the number one predictor of longevity, long life, is your social interactions. And she's going to explain that and the difference between what some might think are social interactions.
How many people do you talk to? And these mean both your weak and your strong bonds. So not just the people you're really close to who mean a lot to you, but like, do you talk to the guy who every day makes you your coffee? Do you talk to the postman? Do you talk to the woman who walks by your house every day with her dog? Do you play bridge or poker or have a book club? Those interactions are one of the strongest predictors of how long you live. Now, this leads me to the next question. If we now spend more time online than on any other activity, including sleeping, we're now up to 11 hours a day, 1 hour more than last year, by the way. Does it make a difference? Why distinguish between interacting in person and interacting via social media? Is it the same thing as being there if you're in contact constantly with your kids through text, for example? Well, the short answer to the question is no, it's not the same thing. Face-to-face contact releases a whole cascade of neurotransmitters. And like a vaccine, they protect you now in the present and well into the future. So simply making eye contact with somebody, shaking hands, giving somebody a high five is enough to release oxytocin, which increases your level of trust, and it lowers your cortisol levels. So it lowers your stress. And dopamine is generated, which gives us a little high, and it kills pain. It's like a naturally produced morphine. Now, all of this passes under our conscious radar, which is why we conflate online activity with the real thing. But we do have evidence now, fresh evidence, that there is a difference.
There you go.
And I happen to have, by coincidence, a follow-on clip, which will be my last.
Okay.
The social media addiction issue.
How long can you go without checking your Twitter feed or your Facebook page or your Instagram account? Well, for many, it's beyond a habit. It's an obsession. Maria Villarreal takes us to a place where young people are getting unplugged from their social media addiction.
I was struggling with severe depression and anxiety.
17-year-old David Mayer from Ohio says he felt constant pressure from his parents to be perfect. Overwhelmed, he started using drugs. He also got lost online for up to 4 hours a day.
I would create this false character of who I was, what I thought was the perfect version of myself, what I wanted to be, which is this young, funny, attractive guy.
David became withdrawn and stopped talking to his parents until they took matters into their own hands. They forced David into the Paradigm Malibu rehab facility for 30 days to treat his social media addiction. No cell phones or internet surfing allowed. 50% of teens say they feel addicted to their mobile devices, and studies show teens who spend more time on social media are more likely to report mental health issues than those who spend less time on the sites. 17-year-old Arizona native Caitlin Walker is also seeking treatment at Paradigm. Caitlin says things began spiraling out of control when her parents' marriage hit a rough patch. She turned to social media for comfort, but instead became the target of online bullying.
Like, I literally had pictures in my camera of people, like, bullying me, and I kept it. Why? I don't know. It was just kind of like confirmation that I wasn't good enough.
Paradigm says its program, which includes therapy and reconnecting with the outdoors, has an 80% success rate. It can cost upwards of $50,000, but some insurance companies do help cover the expense. After 30 days, Caitlin isn't ready to delete her profiles, but she's now learned.
You have the power to block someone or delete them or not look at it.
David now fills his time playing basketball and reading. His program might be over, but his journey is just beginning.
I plan on deleting my Twitter, deleting my Snapchat. I know now that I'm not going to create this false character.
Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, Malibu, California.
The best thing I ever did was getting off the grid.
Now, I was reading through I'll just call it chat room for a moment, even though we like to call it the troll room. And they're not getting the message, John. They think that they all they can limit their social media. They don't care. They're missing the point.
But what's the difference between that and a heroin addict or an alcoholic? Hey, I can drink. I just cut it down a little bit. I'm good. I can stop drinking if I want to.
I've literally heard you say that.
Well, I can.
I know you can. You did it. I remember.
But I also have enough knowledge about myself. That's when somebody said, "Well, you were drunk on the day." No, I don't. Here's the reason. If you do a lot of broadcast work of any sort, podcasting similar, is that if you could probably drink a little bit and do a show and not be caught, slurring or anything. But this is like watching the old Johnny Carson shows. I mean, Carson would go out to lunch, and then the 1 or 2 times where you didn't drink just a little because the lunch got out of control, and you all, instead of drinking iced tea, you're drinking wine, and you go on the show wasted. Yeah. And that would happen every so often on Carson. And then Ed McMahon would give him nothing but grief, which made Carson mad on stage. And it was like you'd call your friends and, hey, you got to check this out. So there's elements of control that you have to deal with.
So, but my overall point is, and the immediately there's like, oh, everyone at TED Talk is a bullshit artist. Read Lost Connections, and by the way, after this show, after we're done, I am planning the meetup because we need in-person. We need in-person contact. And my grandfather, he was one of these people who was and when I was young. He would embarrass us, like, Grandpa. He was like, "Hey, how you?" And he would talk to everybody. Just talking to everybody. The fucker lived to 98. It's like,
and that's probably the reason why.
I would say there's a high likelihood of it. I trust science. Usually, when it's convenient for me, I trust it. But and so this is when I talk about using my Nokia. Oh, by the way, after the last show on Thursday, we talked about maybe crowdfunding and putting together an OTG phone to sell. And I did a little bit of research. I think I sent you some of this. The Symbian operating system was open sourced. Were you aware of this?
Yeah, I did get that.
Okay. So we could clone the Nokia E71, have some China do it. We wouldn't have to do much. Throw the whole Symbian crap in there, and then sell it as a life-saving device.
Yeah, well, that would be the part of the pitch.
No, that is the pitch. It's a life-saving device. And the millennials around me, they went, "Oh, that's cool. What kind of phone is that?" So there's some you can get some hypnus factor going with it as well.
Yeah.
But you've got to stop. You've really got to stop. I think
what?
You got to stop with the social media shit.
Well, I'm a big advocate of that. I don't even have right now. I don't even know where my phone is.
In fact, I think Twitter is actually the only thing that should stay in place, and the way it is.
I'm not. I would say it should all go, but you can't get rid of some.
Well, Twitter is news to me. Twitter is not a social media. Twitter is news. No Agenda Social is not social. It's just news. Yeah, people post back and forth. Fine, whatever. We could do that anywhere. It's news. I like subscribing to feeds of stuff of people who publish stuff, and then I can respond to it. And I can publish my own stuff. That's all it is. But this whole idea of being social, and no, it's harmful to your health, and I certainly don't recommend it.
Nor do I.
That's right. And with that, we say goodbye for this particular program, but we will return on Thursday with more media deconstruction and other life-saving tips. It's up to you.
Life-saving what it is.
What?
It's what it is. Life-saving tips. That's our whole show.
That's right. How to survive in the digital era of the New World Order. Coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, here in the capital of the Drone Star State. It is FEMA Region 6, if you're looking for it on any of the governmental maps, in the 5x9 Cludio in the common law condo. Happy Mother's Day. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I say, physician, heal thyself. That's it.
Usually you say, I'm John C. Dvorak.
I'm John C. Dvorak. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And then I say, adios, mofos. I need a cab.
Cab's on its way.
Oh, boy.
I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a glitch ain't one.
Blame it on the glitch.
And I did this work in 10 minutes. It wasn't that hard to find.
Blame it on the glitch. Yeah, well, reporters don't care.
This kind of
okay. Here's a song idea for something.
No. Well, I was going to keep going with internal.
Well, I'm not going to interrupt. I was going to tell the song idea. Find this song. It's Michael Jackson. Blame it on the boogie. To blame it on the glitch.
Yeah, but you can't fit that in there.
I think it could be done.
It could be blaming on the buggy.
No, then it just sounds too similar.
I can hear.
You'd have to rewrite some lyrics to get the rhymes right.
I can hear Sir Chris popping another beer as we speak.
Don't blame it on the bad code. Don't blame it on the bootload or thermal overload. Blame it on the glitch. Don't blame it on the bad code. Don't blame it on the bootload or thermal overload. Blame it on the glitch.
The guy's becoming alcoholic since he's been doing stuff for the show. Like, hey, man, I'm drunk. Don't worry about me.
The boob Easter egg was the Stormy Daniels picture that was in the list.
It was pretty obvious. And I think that we only got a couple of boob donations. I think people just didn't want to click on her. She's so icky. I don't want to click her.
She is, that's a word that you'd use if you were like in the 8th grade.
But it's appropriate.
I think it is too.
Oh, Icky, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Icky.
He's icky.
Hey, Icky.
That's the term.
Oh, Icky, you're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Icky.
That's what we call her now, Miss Icky.
Oh, Icky, I'm so horny, hope you understand. You occupy my screen while I occupy my head. Oh, Icky, I'm so horny, can't you understand? It's girls like you, Icky. I gotta go, Icky, I'm gonna blow, Icky.
Oh my gosh. Can you see that juice?
You've got karma.
Donald, you have the most beautiful hands.
And wash your hands after touching any raw meat.
This truth is universal. Fox News is the biggest mistake we made in this whole matter with Obama. What is wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Manning, you don't have the stature to tell us what to do. You know, you just little preach over there. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Racist. We love that, but now when you talk about and he'll be president forever. Tea Party, the culprit, you're foolish, and now Mitt Romney against Obama. What is wrong with you people? What's wrong with you? Manning, you don't have the stature to tell us what to do. You know, you're just a little preacher over there at a church over there in Harlem, and we like you. We think you're amusing when you talk about black people. We like what you say about them. But when you start talking about white people, you're automatically wrong. And so, I mean, we'll love to hear you talk about black people. We'll love to hear you say that they ain't got no honor. We love to hear you talk about how barbaric they act and all of that. How they are racist, and we love that. They're racist, and we love that. But now when you talk about, you only give me credit when I talk about black folk. But I'm right, and you're right for giving me credit, because God knows when I speak about them, I'm right. But I'm right when I talk about white folk as well, and I'm right. I done tore that thing up. I done tore it up. Nobody's saying he was first black president. I done tore that thing. I done tore that thing up. I done tore that one up. I done tore it up. Nobody's saying. And I'm right, and you're right. I done tore that thing up. I done tore that one up. The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Hello.